Chapter 1419. As the saying goes, good news doesn't go out, but bad news travels 1,000 miles. House Chin's Chun Yutian tried to steal House Yu's woman and got beaten up by Yu Feng. This news spread like wildfire, and now everyone knew that Chun Yutian seduced Yu's fiancée and got beaten up. Hence, Chun Yutian was the weak one, but no one sympathized with him. They felt that he deserved it. This was House Yu's way of doing things. They pushed all the responsibility away and made it seem like Chun Yutian was the one who deserved it. House Wu, on the other hand, was one of the weakest of the noble houses. All of them were physical practitioners, and the strongest one was only mystic mid-phase, and he had just broken through not too long ago. Especially recently, they heard that Wu Chuntian had offended the Shao family's brothers. This time, as the rising star of the noble house, the Shao family would definitely accuse House Wu. Jing, what do you think? Zhenhu didn't comment on Lu Tianyi and Lu Tianli's words, but looked at Lu Jinghan. Grandpa, I think that this time, House Lu is in the most danger. Lu Jinghan said after a moment of silence. Most danger? Lu Tianli and even Lu Tianyi froze, not expecting Lu Jinghan to say that. Why would you say that? Tell me the reason. Zhenhu nodded, but didn't make any comments. His expression was as calm as ever, without a single ripple of emotion. When it came to House Lu, Zhenhu was quite the character. He was a wise old man, always able to grasp the crux of a problem and find a way to solve it. No wonder House Lu was so happy when Zhenhu found out that he had 10 more years to live. Otherwise, the two brothers, Lu Tianyi and Lu Tianli, wouldn't be able to support the whole House Lu. Lu Tianyi was calm and had a broad vision, but he wasn't smart enough. Tianli, on the other hand, was short-sighted. In business, it was easy to keep the business, but it was hard to advance. The only thing that made Lu Zhenhu happy was this granddaughter, but the only regret was that Lu Jinghan was only a granddaughter, not a grandson. Lu Tianyi's son was still too young. He hadn't grown up yet. He hoped that he could be like Lu Jinghan in the future. Lu Zhenhu would be comforted in his old age. I have a feeling that the clan's conference this time will not be peaceful, Lu Jinghan said calmly. Although the Chun family seems to have reached the point of no return, the Chun family has 2 life-saving trump cards to choose from. Oh, Lu Tianyi and Lu Tianli were both taken aback. They didn't expect House Chun to have 2 trump cards. Wasn't this a little too much? The first one is the ancient sex marriage contract. We all know about this, and although it looks like it doesn't exist anymore, the truth is that the ancient sex didn't say anything about canceling the contract, so it's still valid, Lu Jinghan said. Lu Tianyi and Lu Tianli suddenly remembered that House Chun still had this life-saving trump card. Yes, in the ancient sex, before the marriage contract was canceled, House Chun was still an in-law of the ancient sex. Just how powerful was the ancient sex? Even the hidden houses didn't dare do anything to them, let alone the normal houses. If House Yu really did demote House Chun and kick them out of the noble house ranks, and the ancient sex came looking for trouble after that, then things would be really bad. The second one is Lin Yi. Lu Jinghan continued. This is also the trump card that I think is most likely. Lin Yi, and House Chun. Lu Tianyi paused. Yes, House Chin's granddaughter, Yu Shu, is Meng Yao's best friend, and she seems to have a good relationship with Lin. Lin Yi's protectiveness is known to the world, and anyone who dares to touch the people around Lin Yi will either die or be crippled. Not just House Yu, even the hidden House Pai and House Zhao won't give them any face. Lu Jinghan said, if Lin Yi really intervenes in this matter, then the Chun family will probably be safe. Lin Yi. Yes, if Lin Yi interferes, then this would be much easier. Lu Tianyi nodded. What Jing means is that Lin Yi might interfere with House Chen's business. It's not a possibility. If Yushu says it, then it's 100%. Lu Jinghan said, as far as I know, the relationship between Yushu and Lin Yi is unbelievably good. Then House Wu. Right, I get it, it's still Lin Yi. Lu Tianyi thought through some things after Lu Jinghan's words. I heard that Wu Chuntian took Lin Yi's follower as his boss, so naturally, Lin Yi wouldn't ignore House Wu's business. That's right, So the most dangerous one right now is us, House Lu. Fortunately, House Kong is on the verge of collapsing, and they've become enemies with the Shao family. If House Kong wants to become a noble house, then the Shao family will be the first to object. House Yu wouldn't offend the Shao family that has the hidden House Pi support, so House Kong isn't a big threat to us. Lu Jinghan said, but we can't let our guard down. Who knows if House Yu will play some tricks? Lu Tianyi and Lu Tianli nodded in agreement. Jinhu, on the other hand, spoke up as well. Do you all understand? Just do what you're supposed to do. Theoretically speaking, House Lu shouldn't be in any danger, but there are still unknowns. Still, Jing said that if Lin Yi really were to interfere with House Wu and House Chen's business, he might also interfere with House Lu's business. Recently, under Jing's suggestion, our relationship with Lin Yi is in the honeymoon stage. We understand. Lu Tianyi and Lu Tianli nodded. Now, only Elder Chen's face was a little gloomy. The noble house meeting this time was probably going to be a disaster. What should they do? But no matter what, they had to go. If they didn't go, wouldn't that mean that they were giving up on the title of a noble house? Wouldn't that be what house you wanted? As for Yu Tian's suggestion, Elder Chen was actually quite tempted. Letting Yushu and Lin Yi marry each other would naturally solve the crisis House Chen was in. With Lin Yi's current strength, even if House Yu was furious, they wouldn't be able to do anything to him. But the main problem now was the ancient sect. He didn't dare break off the ancient sect's engagement. Once he made the decision and betrothed Yushu to someone else, the ancient sect, he wouldn't be the only one to be blamed. Yushu would as well. Chapter 1420. After coming out of the tomb, Elder Yu rushed back to Songzhan City without stopping, running faster than a rabbit. It wasn't that he was afraid that Lin Yi would come after him for the qi gathering pill, but he realized that he was poisoned. When he was at the entrance of the tomb, Elder Yu didn't care about the arrows, but after coming out of the tomb, he felt dizzy and had red spots all over his body. With Elder Yu's experience, he knew that he was poisoned. But at first, Elder Yu didn't care and took an antidote pill. This was a medicine unique to the hidden houses, and it could cure most poisons, so he thought that he would be fine after taking it. But at night, Elder Yu realized that the red spots on his body were increasing, and not only did he feel dizzy, but he also felt nauseous. It was even more serious than before. Only then did Elder Yu realize that something wasn't right. He regretted attacking the male thief. If he didn't underestimate the strength of the male thief and his companions, he wouldn't be in this situation right now. He wouldn't have been hit by the poison arrow if he was with the male thief. After realizing that the antidote didn't work, Elder Yu didn't dare stay any longer. He quickly went back to Songzhan and found a hotel to rest in before calling the Hidden House Yu's housekeeper, who was in charge of contacting him. "Housekeeper Yu, I'm Yu Huoxing," Elder Yu said respectfully. "Oh, Yu Huoxing, did you finish your mission? Did you come out of the tomb? Did you get anything?" Housekeeper Yu asked. Elder Yu was disappointed. He had risked his life and almost died, yet the Hidden House Yu didn't care about his safety, but what they wanted was what they wanted. When he called, they didn't even ask about his safety, only asking if he got anything. The tomb was too dangerous, and I was poisoned. I'm back in Songzhan now, and the antidote pill doesn't work. I can't hold on much longer. Housekeeper Yu, please send a medical expert to cure me. Elder Yu was a bit pissed, and he didn't say that he got the qi gathering pill, only saying that he was poisoned. Poisoned? What happened to you? How could you be so careless? Butler Rain was stunned. Does that mean you didn't complete the mission? I told you, the ancient tomb is very dangerous. Those who raided the tomb with me are basically all dead. Elder Yu was even more bitterly disappointed. It seemed like the Hidden House Yu didn't even treat him, an outsider, as a member of the family. He was ordered around like a dog. I see. Steward Yu was a little disappointed. He didn't think much of Elder Yu's ability. It's impossible for the Hidden House Yu to send people to save you. Other than you being a new member of the Hidden House Yu, it's not very obvious. Everyone else is recorded by the Noble House Arbitration Association. If someone were to go to the common world, they'd definitely be watched by the association. If they find out about you, we won't be able to bear the consequences. Housekeeper you, are you saying that you're going to give up on me? Elder you was getting annoyed. Wasn't this hidden house you a little too cruel? He was about to die trying to hide house you, and they were making excuses? You whooshing, of course, that's not what I meant. Steward you sensed Elder you's displeasure and quickly explained, you understand the difficulties of the hidden houses. How about this? In Songshan, there's a miracle doctor, the Yao Wang of the hidden house Zhao. We, the hidden house you, are related to the hidden house Zhao by marriage. I'll arrange it for you. You go find him to cure the poison. Of course, he might charge you some medical fees, but there's nothing we can do about it. Just give it to them. Steward, you knew Yao Wang's personality. This person was extremely evil. How could he not charge for medical fees? Of course, if House Yu and House Zhao negotiated directly, they might waive the medical fees, but House Yu would inevitably owe House Zhao a favor. Steward, you didn't want to owe House Zhao a favor because of you whooshing. It wasn't worth it. I understand. Elder Yu's heart was extremely troubled. He hung up the phone and took a deep breath, letting it out. He didn't want to explode. Thinking of the common House Yu, Elder Yu could only hold it in. Without the support of the hidden House Yu, the common House Yu would soon fall. Soon, Steward Yu sent him a text with Yao Wang's address. He told Yu Huashing that he had already contacted Yao Wang, and that Elder Yu could go there directly. Elder Yu had no choice but to drag his sick body to the address on the message and head to the floating cloud bar. Fortunately, he was an Earth-class early-phase master. If it were a normal person, they would be lying on the bed, unable to move, waiting for death after getting poisoned. But even so, Elder Yu almost fainted when he got to the floating cloud bar. This must be Yu Huashing, Elder Yu. Qibing got the news from House Zhao that Yu Huashing was coming to cure the poison, and he was extremely excited. He had Sihua push his wheelchair outside the bar, waiting for Yu Huashing's arrival. This was a big client, the head of the common House Yu. How could Qibing let go of such a good opportunity to earn money? Qibing had been very unlucky recently. He wanted to do something that would make his grandpa look at him differently. But now that Elder Yu was here, he was going to make a killing. Everyone knew that the common House Yu was rich, and Qibing came to Songshan to earn money, just like House Yu did. The only difference was that House Yu kept earning money, and Qibing kept losing money. How could Qibing be satisfied with this? In the eyes of the jealous Qibing, Yu Huashing was a treasure bowl. The common world House Yu wouldn't let him die, and now that he'd come to them, it wouldn't be Qibing style if he didn't spend a lot of money on him. That's me, Elder Yu said weakly. I ask if you are young Master Zhao. Is Yao Wang here? I'm poisoned, and I'm here to ask Yao Wang to cure me. Facing Qibing, Elder Yu didn't dare to be careless. Although Elder Yu was a member of the hidden House Yu, he was just a dog of the hidden House Yu. Qibing, on the other hand, was a true disciple of House Zhao. Although he was an illegitimate child, his position was still much higher than Elder Yu's. Yao Wang, of course. Elder Yu, please come in. Let Yao Wang treat you. Qibing smiled as he waved his hand, and Sihua and Jianong helped Elder Yu into the back room of the floating cloud bar. Chapter 1421. Elder Yu saw that Yao Wang's body was covered with lightning rods, and he was a little surprised. But he was here to cure his illness, and he couldn't ask too much about this mysterious phenomenon. After all, masters always did things that people couldn't understand. Perhaps this was Yao Wang's way of training. Yao Wang and Zhao Qibing were a match made in heaven. Both of them had evil hearts. In fact, Yao Wang knew that Elder Yu was poisoned the moment he felt his pulse. This poison was strong, but it wasn't a problem for Yao Wang. He could easily deal with this poison, so Yao Wang didn't feel any pressure. In terms of medical skills, Yao Wang wasn't any weaker than Yi. The difference was that one was researching on saving people, and the other was researching on harming people and making money. This poison is very strong. It's 1,000-year-old poison. Yao Wang let go of Elder Yu's wrist, his brows furrowed. This poison, it's not a normal poison. It's a poison that's been lost for a long time. I've only seen it in some ancient texts. Now, your pulse matches the poison mentioned in the ancient texts. Then, what should I do? Elder Yu jumped in fright. He'd heard of Yao Wang's name before. To be able to become one of the head doctors of the hidden house, Zhao, he definitely wasn't a simple character. If he said that this poison was very strong, then wouldn't it mean that he could die easily? Thinking about this, Elder Yu was extremely depressed. He went to the tomb and almost lost his life. But the hidden house, you treated him coldly. It really pissed him off. It's not that there's no way. Coincidentally, when I saw this 1,000-year-old poison, I also saw the antidote. Elder Yu, you're lucky to have met me. If it were someone else, you'd just be waiting for death. Yao Wang came from a hidden house, and he had quite a high position in the hidden house, Zhao. So he didn't have to be too polite when talking to Elder Yu. Yao Wang, please save me. This old man will reward you handsomely. Elder Yu's face turned red upon hearing that there was hope. He quickly cupped his fists and begged. Of course. You don't have to thank me. You're from House Yu, and I'm from House Zhao. Our families are in-laws, so of course I won't refuse. Yao Wang said righteously. If that's the case, thank you. Elder Yu quickly said. However, the Medicine King changed the topic and said, this poison is extremely overbearing. The medicinal ingredients for the antidote are naturally very precious. There are 1,000-year-old knotweed, 10,000-year-old snow lotus, 3,000-year-old ginseng, and other precious medicinal ingredients. The cost of these medicinal ingredients. Don't worry, this old man will bear the cost. How could I let the King of Medicine spend so much money? I can't thank you enough for helping me detoxify the poison. How can I let you pay for it? Elder Yu quickly said, how much does it cost? Not much, just 1 billion. Yao Wang nodded and said, how much? Elder Yu paused, not hearing clearly. 1 billion. Yao Wang repeated. Gah! Elder Yu froze, his mouth wide open, speechless. 1 billion? What kind of cosmic joke was this? 1 billion to detoxify a poison? Even if the antidote was made of diamonds, it wouldn't be worth that much. Yao Wang's words shocked even Zhao Qibing. 1 billion. Yao Wang really dared to ask for that much. From what Zhao Qibing saw, 3 or 200 million was the most he could ask for, but Yao Wang was asking for so much. But Zhao Qibing liked it. Young Master Zhao, isn't the treatment fee a little too expensive? Elder Yu finally came back to his senses and said to Zhao Qibing, Elder Yu, you're wrong. Zhao Qibing waved his hand. Elder Yu, think about it. These are all precious herbs. We don't have much in stock. We're mainly keeping them for Grandpa and the masters of the house. Now that we're using so much to detoxify the poison for you, if someone in the house needs to break through, we won't be able to find them. Grandpa is about to break through Earth class to Sky class. You know how much we've sacrificed for House Yu. Zhao Qibing's words infuriated Elder Yu. Even if all these treasures were real, it didn't cost 1 billion. Did he think he was an idiot? It wasn't like House Yu didn't have any treasures. Although they didn't have the knotweed or the 10,000-year snow lotus, they did have treasures that were worse than this. He didn't believe that House Zhao had so many treasures. But even if he doubted it, he couldn't do anything about it. Elder Yu's life was in their hands. He couldn't turn against House Yu. Young Master Zhao, this treatment fee is an astronomical figure to me. I don't have much money. Do you think? Can you reduce it a little? Elder Yu suppressed his anger and asked. He had to ask. If he really wanted to leave, he could only go back to the hotel and wait for his death. Of course. Zhao Qibing waved his hand. Elder Yu, I'll tell you the truth. It's because you're here. If it were someone else, we wouldn't be willing to sell these treasures for 1 billion. Elder Yu almost cursed. You scammed me of my money, and I have to remember your kindness? But he didn't dare. I really don't have much money. Elder Yu knew the hidden House Yu's wealth like the back of his hand. Most of the hidden House Yu's money was earned by the common House Yu. How could he not know? But how could the hidden House Yu give him money to detoxify the poison? That phone call from before had completely disappointed Elder Yu in the hidden House Yu. His heart was cold, and his heart was cold. From his point of view, he was just a dog of the hidden House Yu. His life and death had nothing to do with the hidden House Yu. So, Elder Yu didn't even think about calling the hidden House Yu for money. As for the common House Yu, Elder Yu believed that although Yu Shueishing would definitely give him money if he asked for it, but Elder Yu knew how much the common house Yu's wealth was. Although the common house Yu was rich, most of the money was earned by the hidden house Yu. All these years, the common house Yu had earned a total of 1 billion. If he used this money to detoxify the poison, what would happen to the common house Yu? Wouldn't they be on the path of decline? Elder Yu couldn't do something like this. Chapter 1422. As expected, this 1 billion came prepared. Elder Yu was so pissed that he wanted to curse out loud. Did he calculate how much money house Yu had? And that's why he brought this up? This 1 billion was really high standard. Young Master Zhao, you see, house Yu could take out this 1 billion, but that's liquid capital. If we took it out, some of our businesses would have to stop operating. Elder Yu explained helplessly. I say, Elder Yu, what does all this have to do with me? Qibing frowned, getting impatient. His status was much higher than Elder Yu, who had just become a hidden noble house, so he didn't waste any more time. Elder Yu, I'll tell you the truth. If you want to cure your illness, then take out 1 billion. If you can't use cash, then you can use items of equal value to trade. Real estate, companies, or even house Yu's auction house. Otherwise, you'll have to find someone else. Qibing had been drooling over house Yu's properties for a long time. If he could get it, he'd be doing a great service to House Zhao, and even his grandpa would look at him differently. Elder Yu was depressed, but if he really turned and walked away now, that would be a reckless move. But he'd rather die if he had to use House Yu's rise and fall as the price. Suddenly, Elder Yu thought of something that might be able to move Yao Wang and Qibing's hearts. Elder Yu didn't want to part with it, but it wasn't worth a single cent to him right now. When he returned to the hidden house Yu, he'd still have to hand it over. It wouldn't benefit him at all. That was the qi-gathering pill he found in the tomb. A miraculous medicine that could allow someone to break through from Earth-class late phase, peak, to Sky-class. But this miraculous medicine wouldn't be of much use to Elder Yu. Elder Yu's current strength was still far from Earth-class late phase peak, and if he was discovered by the hidden house Yu, it'd be troublesome. He might as well use it to trade for his life. He believed that House Zhao wouldn't go around telling people about this. With that thought, Elder Yu opened his mouth. I'll use treasures of equal value to trade. Can I? Oh, what kind of treasure? The King of Medicine's interest was piqued as he raised his eyebrows and asked. A qi-gathering pill. It's worth a lot, and there's no market for it. Elder Yu made up his mind. Qi-gathering pill? What's that? Qibing had never heard of a qi-gathering pill before. Is it valuable? Is it worth 1 billion? Young Master Zhao, this qi-gathering pill is a divine medicine for cultivation. I believe that with the Medicine King's experience, he should know the value of the qi-gathering pill. Elder Yu knew that Zhao Qibing didn't know much, so he didn't get angry. After all, he was the one asking for help, so he explained patiently. What you're talking about, is it really the legendary qi-gathering pill? Yao Wang's eyes froze as he looked at Elder Yu. Elder Yu, you're not joking, right? My life is in your hands, King of Medicine. Do you think I can casually joke around? Elder Yu smiled bitterly. This time, I risked my life for this qi-gathering pill, and in the end, it's all for nothing, and I've suffered so much. Elder Yu's face was a little bleak as he said this. He spent so much effort, got heavily injured, even stabbed his egg, and got poisoned to bring this qi-gathering pill out of the tomb. But to save his life, he had to give it away to someone else. How sad. If you really have something like this, then I'm the one who got the best deal. Yao Wang knew the value of the qi-gathering pill. After hearing Elder Yu's confirmation, he couldn't help but be moved. Can I have a look? Of course. Elder Yu had already decided to use it as a life-saving bargaining chip. How could he not let Yao Wang see it first? And so, Elder Yu took out a small bottle and carefully passed it to Yao Wang. He was a little reluctant. He had risked his life for this, and now it was going to belong to someone else. The Medicine King carefully took the bottle, opened it, and sniffed. His face immediately revealed a shocked expression. From the appearance, color, and fragrance of the elixir, it should be at least a third-grade elixir. The color and smell are very similar to the legendary Qi gathering elixir. It should be true. I won't lie to you. Elder, you felt his heart ache. All right, I'll do my best to cure you, Yao Wang said decisively. This is a great deal. One had to know that this was a spiritual medicine that could raise a practitioner's strength from Earth-class late phase peak to Sky class. Currently, the head of House Zhao was stuck at this bottleneck and hadn't made any progress for more than 6 years. If he and Zhao Qibing could give this pill to the head of the house, then their positions in House Zhao would be like heroes who had done a great service to the family. Wait, Elder Yu waved his hand to stop Yao Wang. Oh, Elder Yu, is there anything else? Yao Wang asked calmly. He was afraid that Elder Yu would change his mind and use 1 billion to exchange for this Qi gathering pill. My other body parts are injured too. Can you heal them all together? Since Elder Yu had spent so much money, naturally, he couldn't just cure the poison. Naturally, that's not a problem. Yao Wang agreed quickly. Actually, curing the poison wasn't easy for Yao Wang, but it wasn't too much effort either. It was just that in order to make Elder Yu feel that this pill was worth it, Yao Wang purposely changed the time from 1 day to 3 days. As for the injuries on Elder Yu's hand and balls, they were small problems. Yao Wang took care of them directly. After the treatment, Elder Yu felt much better. He breathed a sigh of relief and returned to the hotel. Yao Wang, that Qi gathering pill, what is it? Zhao Qibing didn't ask. Although he could tell from Yao Wang's expression that it was something good, he didn't know how good it was. Congratulations, Master Bing. This time, House Zhao will welcome a new era of glory. Yao Wang couldn't help but let out a hearty laugh. The heavens are really blessing our house, Zhao. This Qi gathering pill is a spiritual medicine that can help one break through from the peak of late Earth class to Sky class. It's a legendary medicine that's rarely seen even in the ancient sections. Who would have thought that our house, Zhao, would get our hands on it? Chapter 1423. Naturally, Yao Wang nodded, and we, with Master Bing as the leader, will become the heroes of House Zhao. Really? Ha ha! Qibing laughed excitedly. Doesn't that mean I have hope to return to House Zhao and find my roots? Of course, not only that, no one in House Zhao would dare to look down on you anymore. Even the young madam wouldn't say anything about it. Since Yao Wang was sent to Songzhan to help Qibing earn money, whether he was willing or not, in the eyes of House Zhao, he was part of Qibing's illegitimate son's faction. Now that Qibing was so powerful, his status would naturally rise as well. All right, Qibing nodded. If that's the case, it really is a good thing. I'll report this to father later. While they were talking, Uncle Zhu brought Zhao Fafa into the back room of the floating cloud bar with a pale face. Uncle Zhu, how is it? Did you teach that servant a lesson? Qibing already knew the effects of the Qi gathering pill through Yao Wang's explanation. He was in a good mood, imagining the scene of him returning to House Zhao, so he didn't notice Uncle Zhu's expression. Master Bing, do you know who this kid wanted me to teach a lesson to? Uncle Zhu was about to explode when he remembered what happened earlier. This was asking him to die. Who? Isn't it just a servant? Qibing paused when he heard Uncle Zhu's unfriendly tone. Servant? That servant is Lin Yi, and Lin Yi's follower, Air Gooden. He's asking me to jump into a fire pit. Uncle Zhu pointed at Zhao Fafa. He's trying to kill us. Qibing froze. Could it be that the girl he's talking about is Tang Yun? Tang Yun. He dared to tease Tang Yun. I'm really shocked. Why isn't he dead yet? Uncle Zhu didn't know what to say after seeing Zhao Fafa's fearless attitude. Slap. Qibing slapped Zhao Fafa's face. Motherfucker, you're really something. I don't even dare to do anything to Tang Yun, and you dare? You're really a piece of work? Get lost. I'm in a good mood today, so I won't argue with you. Don't let me see you again. Zhao Fafa didn't dare say anything else. He covered his face and ran away. He didn't know why Zhao Qibing was so angry, but it was obvious that this Lin Yi was very powerful. Even Zhao Qibing and Uncle Zhu were afraid of him. Zhao Fafa knew that he had messed with someone he shouldn't have messed with. Although Zhao Fafa left, Zhao Qibing still felt wronged. After listening to Uncle Zhu's story, his face darkened. Linny again. I'll kill you sooner or later. Master Bing, wait until you get some support from the Zhao family. Wait until the master breaks through to the heaven rank. By then, what will Linny amount to? Killing him is easy, Yao Wang reminded. Right. Who would I be afraid of once Grandpa advances to the heaven rank? Qibing's expression softened as he thought about his bright future. He picked up his phone and called his father, Zhao Guangyin. Qibing, what's wrong? Did House Yu Huoxing go to see you? Guangyin didn't know why Qibing was calling him. He's here, but I won't let him get away with it. I'll pay him 1 billion, Qibing said. What, 1 billion? Guangyin froze and frowned. Qibing, isn't that a little too high? After all, House Zhao and House Yu are in-laws. Wouldn't we be offending House Yu? Guangyin was worried about his wife, Yu Xiaojin's attitude. Wasn't Zhao Qibing openly going against House Yu? What's wrong? Father, are you blaming me? Qibing wasn't happy. He felt that his father was always worrying about this and that. He couldn't achieve anything great. That's not it. But Qibing, this price is a little high. Is it okay? Guangyin couldn't say that it was because of Yu Xiaojin. Father, let me finish first. Qibing said. Actually, I know a huge secret. Aunt Yu isn't with you. Is she? Secret? No. I'm in the study by myself. Guangyin paused. Actually, I know that Yu Huoxing has a super elixir with him. It's called the Qi Gathering Pill. Qibing had already thought of how to maximize the credit. He turned it from a coincidence to a plan. What? Qi Gathering Pill? How does he have such a miracle elixir? Guangyin almost threw the phone away. This was too shocking. As early as 3 years ago, when Lord Zhao's breakthrough to the heaven rank was fruitless, he went to look for this kind of medicinal pill. But how could this kind of medicinal pill be so easy to find? He had to give up after a fruitless search. He didn't think that Qibing would have news of this elixir. It's an accident, isn't it? Who cares? Qibing said. So I was thinking, how can I get his elixir and give it to Grandpa? I can't take it by force, so I discussed it with Yao Wang and offered a price of 1 billion. Under Yao Wang's guidance, I got Yu Huoxing to give me the elixir. Qibing was a man who knew how to get people to his side. When he talked to his father, he pointed out Yao Wang's contribution. This made Yao Wang feel that Qibing was a good master. What? The Qi Gathering Pill is in your hands now? Guangyin was surprised and overjoyed after hearing Qibing's words. He stood up abruptly. Is that true? Yu Huoxing is willing to give me such a miracle elixir? Haha, of course it's in my hands. Qibing said proudly. Yu Huoxing naturally didn't want to give it to me, but he had to in order to save his life. Then, does the hidden house you know about this? Guangyin suddenly thought of an important thing. Would House Yu come looking for trouble? Of course not. Even if Yu Huoxing had 10,000 guts, he wouldn't dare give us the elixir. Even if we cured him, he'd be severely punished when he returned to the hidden house Yu. Qibing didn't care. So, Father, we can't tell Anna Yu about this. Only Grandpa knows. Chapter 1424. Thank you, Father. Qibing was a little excited. Was he going to become a practitioner soon? Qibing was really looking forward to it. Generally speaking, whether it was the internal martial arts or the external martial arts, they were all cultivated from a young age. Once they passed that age, it would be very difficult to make any progress in cultivation. This was because at that time, the meridians and bones would already be formed. No matter how hard they worked, there would not be much effect. Naturally, Zhao Qibing had missed the chance to train, so he didn't go back to training. This was the same as Chun Yutian. If it wasn't for Lin Yi, Chun Yutian wouldn't be able to achieve anything in his lifetime. Of course, there were ways to change this flaw. Although Lin Yi's method was effective, it was too miraculous. Normal people wouldn't be able to do it. So for sects and hidden houses, there was another way to change a person's meridians and bones. This pill was called the Foundation Elixir. Although the Foundation Establishment Pill was not a very high-grade pill, only a few people in the ancient sects could refine it. The refining process was complicated and the success rate was extremely low. Therefore, the cost was also ridiculously high. Normally, unless one was an important person in the clan, it was impossible for them to consume this kind of pill. If Zhao Qibing could use it, it meant that House Zhao would officially bring him into the core of the family and raise him as a core disciple. All right, I'll tell father right away. Get ready, I'll send someone to pick you up, Guangyin said solemnly. Yes, father, Qibing replied. It had been so many years, and he hadn't been able to officially enter House Zhao. This time, it would be the start of his dream. Lin, he didn't expect this little thing to be so stubborn. General Wei Wu chatted with him for so long, but the little guy still didn't want to leave. He wanted to stay in the tomb. But this pig's IQ wasn't low. He had deep feelings for Zhang Liju, so it was understandable. General Wei Wu and Skybolt Pig talked for a while more, and Skybolt Pig brought General Wei Wu to a stone room at the back. Lin saw this and quickly got up to follow with Xiaoka. Inside the stone room, Lin saw a mountain of herbs piled up on the floor. Although many of the herbs were already dried, Lin could tell from the appearance that there were many rare and precious herbs among them. After the Skybolt Pig walked in, he casually picked up a few herbs with his 2 front paws and stuffed them into his mouth. He then chewed on them with relish. This scene stunned Xiaoka, but Lin was prepared for it. Lin had seen the introduction of Skybolt Pig in Zhang Liju's medical notes, and he knew that this animal relied on herbs to increase its strength. It wasn't surprising that it ate herbs like rice. Woof woof. General Wei Wu said something to Skybolt Pig, and Skybolt Pig said something to General Wei Wu as well. After that, General Wei Wu raised his head and looked at Lin Yi. He used his paw to point at the herbs and pointed at Skybolt Pig. He then waved his paw and pointed at the door. You're saying that there aren't these herbs outside, so it doesn't want to leave? Lin Yi roughly understood what General Wei Wu was trying to say and asked hesitantly. Woof woof. General Wei Wu quickly nodded, indicating that Lin Yi was right. So that's how it is. Lin Yi looked at the mountain of herbs. If he were to move all these herbs out, it would be quite a big project. Lin Yi didn't have the legendary storage ring, and he didn't have any machines in this tomb that he could borrow. One could imagine how difficult it would be to move all these herbs out. But if he didn't move out, Skybolt Pig probably wouldn't go with him. This little guy wasn't stupid. He knew that he could increase his strength by staying here, but there wouldn't be any benefits if he left. It seemed like it wasn't entirely because he missed Zhang Liju. However, if he were to ask Lin Yi to buy these herbs for Skybolt Pig to eat, Lin Yi really didn't have that much spare cash. Don't underestimate these things. Just the ginseng and Ganoderma in front of him. Any box would be worth a lot of money. Lin Yi couldn't trick Skybolt Pig into leaving and not fulfill his promise. If he did that, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to do anything to him. Lin Yi still needed him to find the fire spirit's fruit. What would he do to solve this problem? Lin Yi was in a difficult position, right? Wasn't Skybolt Pig's goal to increase his strength? If he could increase General Wei Wu's strength, then naturally he could increase Skybolt Pig's strength as well. Currently, Skybolt Pig was only at the middle phase of Golden Class, but he could increase his strength to the early phase of Mystic Class. With this kind of enticement, would this little thing leave with him? Skybolt Pig finished the herbs, and the chi in his body increased a little. Lin Yi could feel it, but it was too little. It could only be described as insignificant. Since he had made up his mind, Lin Yi walked over to Skybolt Pig. The little guy seemed to be afraid of Lin Yi, but perhaps he knew that Lin Yi was a mystic middle phase peak, and he wasn't strong enough to fight him. Although he was afraid, he didn't dare to run. Lin Yi bent down and placed his hand on Skybolt Pig's body. He activated the art of Dragon Mastery and transferred a strand of energy to Skybolt Pig. The energy entered Skybolt Pig's body and instantly turned into chi. It merged with Skybolt Pig's chi, and his strength increased instantly. Although Lin only transferred a little bit of energy, it was still much more than what Skybolt Pig got from eating the herbs. It would not be an exaggeration to say that they were worlds apart. Lin Yi, on the other hand, only gave it a small taste of sweetness. Lin Yi breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that his idea was realized. It seemed like the little guy was the same as General Wei Wu. He didn't practice any arts or chants, and the pure energy in his body was absorbed passively, as if it was a natural treasure. Perhaps this was the difference between spiritual beasts and human cultivators. Lin Yi's action made Skybolt Pig widen his eyes, and he looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. The little thing's IQ wasn't low. It could naturally tell the difference between the effects of Lin Yi's energy and the effects of the herbs it had consumed. Chapter 1425. Skybolt Pig's heart skipped a beat. In actuality, General Wei Wu had told him that Lin Yi was a doctor as well as a practitioner, and he had Zhang Liju's medical notes. He could be considered as Zhang Liju's medical inheritor, and it wasn't impossible for Skybolt Pig to follow him out. After all, Zhang Liju had told Skybolt Pig before he died that if other doctors met him, he could go with them and help them with their medical practice. This was Zhang Liju's wish as well. Zhang Liju had never met a suitable disciple in his life. It was hard to find a good teacher, but it was also hard to find a good disciple. Zhang Liju was a strict man, and he would rather have nothing than a substandard disciple. In the end, he couldn't find a suitable disciple, and he could only regretfully bring all his knowledge into the tomb, waiting for the right person to visit the tomb and inherit what he had learned. So Zhang Liju's tomb was designed in a very strange and ingenious way. After figuring it all out, Lin Yi admired Zhang Liju. First of all, in order to enter the tomb and take Skybolt Pig away, one had to be someone who could communicate with spirit beasts. Lin Yi couldn't do it yet, but General Wei Wu could, and so Lin Yi and the others entered the tomb without a hitch. Otherwise, they would have been stopped by the spirit beast guarding the tomb. This was Zhang Liju's first test. If he could communicate with a spirit beast, then he could enter the tomb. But if this person wasn't a doctor and was just a normal tomb raider, then the poison mist and arrows would be enough to kill the person who visited the tomb. Of course, if they were a doctor, then they could detoxify the poisons. This kind of person was what Zhang Liju was looking for as a medical inheritor. As for the character and other things, it wasn't something Zhang Liju could care about. It didn't matter if the character was good or bad. As long as they were skilled in medicine and could communicate with spirit beasts, then they could be considered as his people. Plus, Zhang Liju had saved countless people in his life, but his character was a mix of good and evil, and he wasn't a rigid person. This was somewhat similar to Lin Yi's character. The Skybolt Pig had obtained even better benefits than when he was crazily eating medicinal herbs, so he immediately waved his hands in front of Lin Yi. Lin Yi was a little speechless. Wasn't this little thing a little too snobbish? Previously, it wouldn't leave no matter what I said. Now that I've given it some benefits, it came to please me. Xiao Wei, tell it that if it wants to level up, it has to come with me, Lin Yi said to General Wei Wu, asking him to pass on his message. However, before General Wei Wu could say anything, Skybolt Pig leaped up and hugged Lin Yi tightly, as if he was afraid that Lin Yi would change his mind and not bring him along. Woof woof! General Wei Wu pointed at Skybolt Pig and then at Lin Yi's mouth. It was obvious that this little guy could understand Lin Yi's words. Oh! Lin Yi was taken aback, but he nodded immediately. Since Zhang Liju could communicate with Skybolt Pig, it meant that Skybolt Pig could understand human language. This guy had always understood Lin Yi's words, and this pissed him off. Did this little thing laugh at him when he asked General Wei Wu to pass on his message? Stupid pig, you can understand my words? Lin Yi glared at Skybolt Pig. Oink oink! Skybolt Pig nodded in fear, afraid that Lin Yi would get angry and not bring him along. Let's go. Lin Yi couldn't be bothered to argue with an animal. He pulled Skybolt Pig down from his body and threw it on the ground. Walk by yourself. Oink oink. Skybolt Pig wanted to hug Lin Yi's body because he felt that Lin Yi's body was like a spirit, filled with the energy of heaven and earth. Just a little bit of it, and he'd be able to benefit from it. Xiaoka saw how cute Skybolt Pig was, and she couldn't help but reach out to touch it. Suddenly, Lin Yi's jade sent a warning signal. Lin Yi was startled, and although he didn't know what danger was about to happen, he still called out subconsciously, "Careful!" Xiaoka didn't expect that the moment she touched Skybolt Pig, all the hair on its body stood up, and it turned into an angry beast. It pricked Xiaoka's hand, causing it to bleed. Why does this little guy look like a porcupine? Xiaoka quickly retracted her hand and started sucking on her finger. I didn't think that it could protect itself. Lin Yi smiled and shook his head. This little guy didn't have any attacking abilities, but it had defensive abilities. The Jade warning was because Skybolt Pig was going to prick Xiaoka. Yeah, it won't even let me touch it. Xiaoka didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She touched it and got pricked. With the addition of Skybolt Pig, Lin Yi didn't plan on disturbing the owner of Zhang Liju's tomb anymore. He already got what he wanted, and Lin Yi wasn't a greedy person. Lin Yi's goal in this tomb was to find a fire spirit's fruit. So, when LDU took the Qi gathering pill, Lin Yi didn't feel bad about it, and he didn't chase after him and risk his life to get it back. Lin Yi didn't need to waste his energy on something that wasn't useful to Lin Yi. With Skybolt Pig and General Wei Wu, Lin Yi and Xiaoka quickly retreated through the death door. It was a safe and stable journey, and they didn't meet any danger. It seemed like their guess was right. Wherever Skybolt Pig was, there was no danger. They retreated until they reached the exit of the life door and death door, and Xiaoka suddenly felt dizzy. Male thief. I'm a little dizzy. Can we rest for a bit? Xiaoka was confused as to why she felt dizzy, but from her perspective, it was most likely due to the lack of oxygen in the tomb for too long. Oh, dizzy? Lin Yi paused. What's wrong? The air in the tomb was thinner than the outside world, but it shouldn't affect someone like Xiaoka, who was used to harsh environments. Even Old He didn't feel any pressure, so why would Xiaoka? As a result, Lin Yi was curious about Xiaoka's sudden dizziness. As a doctor, especially since there were many dangers in the tomb, Lin Yi still asked her nervously. I don't know, maybe it's because the air in the tomb is thinner? Xiaoka said uncertainly. Chapter 1426. Wait, Jade? Lin Yi suddenly remembered that the Jade did warn him when Yu Xiaoka was petting the pig. Lin Yi quickly grabbed Yu Xiaoka's hand. Yu Xiaoka didn't think that Lin Yi would grab her hand so suddenly. She thought that Lin Yi wanted to comfort her because of her dizziness, and she blushed. Their relationship became more and more intimate after this trip to the tomb. Yu Xiaoka's heart couldn't help but race, and this time was no exception. However, after Lin Yi grabbed Yu Xiaoka's hand, he didn't do anything else. Instead, he checked Yu Xiaoka's wound. So it's like this. Lin Yi saw that Yu Xiaoka's wound was red and swollen, and he nodded in realization. Tianlei Pig's thorns are poisonous. Poisonous? Yu Xiaoka felt that the wound on her hand was indeed itchy after hearing what Lin Yi said. Stupid pig, give me the antidote. Lin Yi kicked Tianlei Pig and said, Oink, oink. Tianlei Pig felt wronged, as if he was expressing his innocence. He didn't do it on purpose, but he instinctively defended himself when Yu Xiaoka got close to him. Lin Yi couldn't understand Tianlei Pig's words, but General Wei Wu could. Woof woof. General Wei Wu pointed at Yu Xiaoka and waved its paw. Then it made a sleeping posture. Oh. It means that the poison isn't a big deal, and you'll be fine after sleeping, Lin Yi explained to Yu Xiaoka. I see. Yu Xiaoka sighed in relief. Is there any way to cure it? Lin Yi asked again. Oink, oink. Skybolt Pig heard Lin Yi's words and was a little unwilling, but after thinking about it for a while, he walked over to Xiaoka and used his front paw to pull out a hair from his body. He poked Xiaoka's hand with the hair on the other side of the hair follicle. Xiaoka cried out in pain. However, Lin Yi didn't stop him. He knew that the pig was trying to cure Yu Xiaoka's poison. If he dared to harm Yu Xiaoka again in front of Lin Yi, then he wouldn't be able to live anymore. Gigi, the Skybolt Pig threw away its fur and shook its body, telling Lin Yi that the poison had been detoxified. How miraculous! The wound on my hand isn't itchy anymore, and I don't feel dizzy anymore. Yu Xiaoka exclaimed in surprise. This little thing is so miraculous. Next time, watch your enemies carefully. If you poke people again, I'll kick you out. Lin, he said to the pig. GG. The Skybolt pig nodded to show that it understood. After leaving the tomb through the life door, Lin E brought Xiaoka, Skybolt pig, and General Wei Wu, jumping up to the cliff on the side. Lin E ran like he was flying, and Yu Xiaoka's Qinggong was good as well. The two humans and two beasts soon arrived at the nearby town. Flying Sparrow, let's part ways here. We can get on the train from here. Lin E pointed at the train station. We'll meet again. Ah, we're going to part ways. Yu Xiaoka looked at Lin E, unwilling to leave, since she was young, other than her master. The male thief was the one who cared for her the most. Yu Xiaoka would remember this tomb raiding experience for the rest of her life. She would never forget how the male thief had saved her from danger time and time again. Haha, go back and live a good life. Don't come out anymore, and I won't do it anymore. I can't take care of you anymore. Lin, he said to Yu Xiaoka. Oh, Yu Xiaoka nodded, a little disappointed. The male thief said that he was looking for a spiritual medicine for his girlfriend, so it was normal for him to give up. Then, will we meet again? Xiaoka knew that her question was a little silly. The male thief wasn't raiding tombs anymore, and she wasn't participating in missions like this anymore. The chances of the two of them meeting each other were basically zero. Perhaps they would never see each other again. If there are no accidents, I don't think so. Lin E smiled. The identity of the male thief was coming to an end. This person wasn't Lin E in the first place. It was Lin E in disguise. Now that the mission was over, naturally, he wouldn't pretend to be the male thief anymore unless Lin E had nothing better to do. I see. Yu Xiaoka already knew the answer, but she only gave up after asking it. All right, let's part ways here. Lin E said, you're very pretty and a kind girl. I hope you find the happiness that belongs to you. How could Lin E not know what Yu Xiaoka was thinking? But Lin E really didn't have the mood to develop anything with her. One was because of the restrictions of his identity, and the other was because he was worried about Xiao Xiao's safety. Oh, Yu Xiaoka lowered her head, as if she understood what the male thief meant. But she suddenly raised her head again and gathered her courage. Then, can you take off your mask and let me see your face? No. Lin E rejected her decisively. What kind of joke was this? Wouldn't you recognize me if I took it off? Just one look. Just one look. I won't tell anyone. Yu Xiaoka begged. What difference does it make? Lin E said faintly. At least, let me have a good memory. Yu Xiaoka said, after some hesitation. All right, how about this? Perhaps we'll meet again. I'll appear with my original face, and if you recognize me, I won't deny it. Is that okay? Lin E said helplessly. Oh, Yu Xiaoka didn't think much about it. She thought that the male thief was just trying to brush her off. All right, I'm leaving. Take care, Lin E said and turned around, bringing General Wei Wu and Skybolt Pig with him as he walked away. Male thief, I like you. Yu Xiaoka looked at the back of the male thief and finally gathered enough courage to shout out her heart. Yu Xiaoka wasn't a shy girl. In fact, she dared to love and hate. She felt that if she didn't voice out her feelings now, she wouldn't have another chance in the future. Lin Yi's footsteps paused for a moment, but he continued to walk forward as usual. I'll definitely find you. Yu Xiaoka shouted out her heart and became bolder. Although I don't know what you look like, it's rare to see a dog and a pig with you. I just need to remember them, and I'll find you. Chapter 14:27. Looking at General Wei Wu and Skybolt Pig beside him, Lin Yi wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Wasn't this too obvious? Lin Yi decided that he must hide Skybolt Pig well when he got back. He must never bring him out. And it's decided. Xiaoka saw that Lin Yi didn't answer her, and she couldn't help but feel sad and disappointed. She shook her head, turned around, and quickly ran to the bus station. She suppressed her feelings deep in her heart. Once she returned to the orphanage, she would become the old Xiaoka again. She would work hard for the children every day. And, Xiaoka, you can do it. Xiaoka cheered herself on. And so, she smiled again. Lin, he seemed to have left, but in fact, he watched Xiaoka get into the car before leaving with General Wei Wu and Skybolt Pig. The car they took was Chun Yutian's, and he probably drove back already. So, Lin didn't go back to the campsite. He took off his mask and took a taxi back to Songzhan. Returning to the familiar villa, Lin pressed the doorbell. Lin didn't bring the key when he left. Not long after, footsteps came from the villa. Lin could tell that it was Yushu. Shield bro. Yushu opened the door and saw Lin standing outside. She exclaimed in excitement. Yao Yao sis, Shield bro is back. Yushu ran towards Lin after shouting. Her chest was jiggling, and it made Lin excited. He hadn't seen it for a long time. It was great that he could get such benefits as soon as he came home. Hurried footsteps came from the villa again. Meng Yao came out as well. Seeing Lin she smiled happily. Lin you're back. And I'm back. Lin nodded to the Mississippi. The Miss had gotten a lot friendlier these days. How are you guys? Did anything happen at home? Lin Yi's words made Meng Yao's face dim. Something happened. Zhou Jiaming seems to be injured. I don't know the details, but can you go check on him? Wu Qintian is heavily injured as well, and he's resting in your room with Zhou Jiaming. Wu Qintian. Lin blinked. Why is he here? Lin couldn't be blamed for his surprise. His relationship with Chun Tian had never been that good. There wasn't any deep hatred between them, but Chun Tian did see him as a rival in love. Why would he come here to recover after getting injured? Well, it's a long story. Meng Yao didn't know how to tell her about Chun Tian. Why don't you ask Zhou Jiaming? All right. Lin didn't really care if Chun Tian was injured or not, but Zhou Jiaming was injured as well. Lin nodded and quickly walked into the room. Lin didn't need to care about Skybolt Pig. General Wei Wu would take it to where it belonged. Oh, what's this? Why is it so cute? Yushu was surprised to see the Skybolt Pig behind Lin A little pig. Lin said, it's called Skybolt Pig. It's used to find the fire spirit's fruit. What a cute pig, Yushu said, reaching out to pet the pig. Right, we've been talking about Zhou Jiaming. How's the fire spirit's fruit? Meng Yao was worried about Xiao Xiao's safety as well. Not in the tomb, but there's some news. I'll go check on Erguden first. We'll talk about the fruit later. Lin glared at Skybolt Pig. Look at who's friend. They're all on our side. If you hurt them again, you'll get a beating. Oink oink. Skybolt Pig nodded hard. Yushu and Meng Yao went to study Skybolt Pig, and Lin quickly walked into his room. Gooden heard the sound as well, but he had no strength left in his body. Other than barely being able to talk, he could only lie on the bed. Chun Tian, on the other hand, was in an even worse state. His meridians were all broken, and his organs were all shifted. Boss, you're back. Gooden finally smiled when he saw Lin walk in. I didn't disappoint you. I finally made it. What's wrong with you, kid? You've only been here for a short while, and you've already learned how to talk. Lin knew about Gooden's situation, and he could roughly guess what was going on. Overexertion? Yeah, Gooden nodded. It's nothing. I can still hold on. Boss, you're good. Shintian was worried. After all, he had some conflict with Lin and he was afraid that Lin wouldn't accept him. He'd be in big trouble then. Not only would he be heavily injured, but he'd also offended a bunch of noble houses. House will be done for. Wu Chintian, since when did I become your big boss? Lin blinked, confused as he looked at Chintian. Boss, let me tell you, Wu Chintian did his best when I was injured. Gooden had already accepted Chintian in his heart, and naturally, he wanted Lin to accept him as well. And so, Gooden told Lin everything that happened after Lin had left, including how he killed the two masters from House Pai, and then Jean Wudi. Then, Uncle Zhu brought Zhao Fafa to Tang Yun, and Chun Tian sacrificing himself. Oh, Lin looked at Chun Tian shocked. He didn't think that he would change like this. He actually accepted Gooden as his boss. Big boss, don't worry. I won't have any thoughts about Sun Jingyi anymore. She's my big sister-in-law now, and I'll protect her like how I protect Tang Yun. Chun Tian was afraid that Lin would still remember what happened to Sun Jingyi, so he quickly explained. Me and Sun Jingyi, we don't have anything to do with each other. Lin smiled bitterly after hearing what Chun Tian said. It doesn't matter if we have anything to do with each other or not. I've decided that I'll focus on learning martial arts from Boss and Big Boss. I hope Boss and Big Boss won't look down on me. Chen Tian quickly expressed his intentions. Huh, all right, I'll accept you. Lin Yi could see Chen Tian's sincerity. This person actually didn't have much conflict with Lin Yi, but because of Sun Jingyi, he was set up by Xiao Xiao a couple of times. Now that he was injured protecting Tang Yun, Lin Yi couldn't reject him. Chapter 1428. Having someone like Chen Tian as a bodyguard wasn't a bad idea, so Lin Yi decided to take him in. Chen Tian's face relaxed after hearing Lin Yi's words. Thank you, boss. But I can't teach you much about physical martial arts. I don't have any special training experience. Lin Yi waved his hand and said, however, I can concoct some special potions that can transform the body for you. Soak your palms in it, and it should help your iron fist training a lot. Lin Yi was a physical practitioner as well, but he didn't have much of it, and he didn't have any practitioner's arts. He only used some of the old man's potions to change his body's muscles and bones, and this was one of the reasons why Lin Yi was stronger than normal practitioners. That's great. Thank you, boss. Chen Tian said excitedly. He thought that Lin Yi would have to go through a period of testing before giving him some benefits, but he didn't think that Lin Yi would give him a greeting gift right away. In fact, Lin Yi did want to test Chen Tian, but time didn't allow it. Lin Yi wanted to find a fruit as soon as possible, and he didn't have much time left in Songzhan. He had to settle things here and go on a new journey. And so, since Gooden had already tested Chen Tian, Lin Yi didn't need to test him again. At least, Lin Yi could see the sincerity in Chen Tian's eyes. No need to thank me, but don't be stupid and let people trick you again. Lin Yi looked at Chen Tian. You've been tricked by Xiao Xiao so many times, and that's fine, but you need to be smarter in the future. Don't always go out and act like you're cool. Ugh, Xiao Xiao, didn't I get tricked by sis-in-law? We're family, so it's not tricked. Chen Tian explained awkwardly. But don't worry, boss, I'll be careful. Lin Yi nodded and didn't say anything else. Zhao Fafa brought a Zhu guy to cause trouble for Tang Yun. Is Zhao Qibing tired of living? After that, I analyzed it with Miss Chu. It should be because Uncle Zhu didn't know that Tang Yun was your girlfriend, boss, and Zhao Fafa didn't tell the truth, so they want to find trouble with Tang Yun's sis-in-law. Chen Tian explained. Big Boss. This name is a bit too weird. You can call me Big Boss Lin Yi from now on. You can also call me Zhou Jiaming. Lin Yi corrected. All right, I'll call him Boss Lin Yi then. Chen Tian said straightforwardly. He'd call him whatever Lin Yi liked. You don't know? I can't just let it go if you don't know. But you're the one who's injured, so I'll respect your decision on how to deal with Zhao Qibing. Lin Yi raised his head and looked at Chen Tian. Do you want some benefits? Or do you want to step on him yourself when you're strong enough? Chen Tian wasn't Tang Yun, so Lin Yi couldn't help him. Although he was Lin Yi's follower, there was still a difference between him and a woman. Can I? Boss Lin Yi, can I step on him myself? Chen Tian heard Lin Yi's words, and his eyes lit up. Forget about the benefits. I want to step on him myself. All right, I'll let you step on him yourself. Lin Yi sighed and decided to help Chen Tian increase his strength. He'd left, Gooden had left as well, and he didn't feel safe leaving Uncle Fu here alone. The only person he could use right now was Wu Chen Tian. Boss Lin Yi, I'll wait for this day. No matter how much pain I have to endure, no matter how much effort I have to put in, I can endure it. As long as I can cripple that old man with my own hands, I'll be able to act cool for a moment. Chen Tian gritted his teeth and swore. Lin Yi was speechless at Chen Tian's pretentious attitude. He said unhappily, how many days do you want to wait? Endure hardships and endure. You can wait, but I can't. Chen Tian froze after hearing Lin Yi's words. What do you mean? Nothing. Tomorrow, you'll go and cripple that old man Zhu, then come back and stay in the villa peacefully as a bodyguard for Meng Yao, Yu Shu, and Tang Yun. Lin Yi said, tomorrow? Chen Tian opened his mouth and looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. He wondered if there was something wrong with his ears. He was still lying on the bed today. How was he going to take revenge tomorrow? Not to mention that his injuries weren't healed yet. Even if he did, he wouldn't be a match for Uncle Zhu. Tomorrow. Lin Yi nodded with certainty. Chintan, on the other hand, was very confused. He didn't know what Lin Yi was so confident that he could go to Uncle Zhu for revenge tomorrow. He asked, Boss Lin Yi, my injuries. And, I'm not strong enough? Are you going to hug him and let me hit him? I'll heal your injuries, and I'll help you increase your strength, Lin Yi said. We'll talk about this later. I'll send Gooden back first. I'm fine. I've been holding on for so many days already. A little more doesn't matter. Gooden shook his head nonchalantly. We can't drag it any longer. Did you tell Yuan? I'm worried about you going back alone. I'll send you back to the train and have Yuan go home with you? Lin Yi asked. I did tell her about my injuries, but asking her to go back with me. I didn't ask, so I don't know if she'll go back with me. Gooden scratched his head embarrassedly. Boss, I'm afraid that she'll reject. How do you know if you don't ask? Lin Yi was experienced. She'll go back with you. At first, Lin Yi wasn't sure if Tang Yin would go back with him, but she chose to go with him without hesitation. Then, I'll just ask. Gooden hesitated and decided to call Yuan. He didn't let Ling Shan leak the news of Yu Tian's injuries, and, of course, that included Lin Yi. First, Yu Tian didn't want his sister to know. If he told Lin Yi, it would be the same as letting Yushu know. The siblings were very close, and Yu Tian was afraid that Yushu would be sad if she knew. Second, he didn't want Lin Yi to cause trouble for House Yu. Everyone had seen House Yu's strength in the tomb. It wasn't wise to ask Lin Yi to go to House Yu to avenge him. Lin Yi had more important things to do. Chapter 1429. Today, Lingshan had an appointment with Sun Jingyi from House Sunday. She wanted to talk about Chen Yutian. Although she knew that the chances were slim, she had to try no matter what. It was a coffee shop, and Lingshan was wearing sunglasses as she sat at a table in front of a glass window, waiting for Sun Jingyi to arrive. Sun Jingyi was still driving her red Audi A4L. What surprised her was that Wu Chintian didn't bother her at all. As Sun Jingyi returned to her peaceful days, she started to miss Lin Yi. Could it be that she really fell in love with this young man? Sun Jingyi denied this thought. Lin Yi didn't have anything worthy of praise, did he? He was just a big thief. How could he be worthy of her? Sun Jingyi? But Lin Yi wasn't just a big thief. He had other identities, and he wasn't weak either. In fact, Sun Jingyi couldn't find a reason to ask Lin Yi out again. So, she started to look down on Lin Yi in her heart, reminding herself not to be interested in Lin Yi anymore. Sun Jingyi parked her car in front of the coffee shop and walked in quickly. She saw Ling Shan sitting by the window. Although Sun Jie didn't have much contact with House Song, Sun Jingyi still had an impression of this famous captain of the criminal investigation team. She had seen her on TV before. Recently, Ling Shan had solved many big cases. Miss Sun? Hello. Ling Shan, naturally, knew about Sun Jingyi's information beforehand. So, she recognized Sun Jingyi the moment she walked in. She stood up and waved. Sun Jingyi nodded and sat in front of Ling Shan. Officer Song, why are you looking for me? Since they chose to meet in a coffee shop, it couldn't be about work. But Sun Jingyi couldn't understand why Ling Shan wanted to meet her. They didn't seem to have any personal relationship. Call me Ling Shan. This isn't the police station. Ling Shan smiled. I'll call you Jingyi, is that okay? Of course. Sun Jingyi was even more confused. What was Ling Shan trying to do? Jingyi, come sit. What would you like to drink? Ling Shan smiled. Anything. Juice is fine. Sun Jingyi sighed and decided to skip the pleasantries. Her instincts told her that Ling Shan wanted to meet her for something. So, Sun Jingyi decided to go straight to the point. Ling Shan, why are you looking for me? Ugh. It's like this. Ling Shan was embarrassed that Sun Jingyi saw through her intentions. Then I'll be straight to the point, okay? How's Sun's practitioner's arts? Which stage are you at? Only the first stage. Why? Could it be that you want to ask for Hao Sun's help during the Noble House meeting? Sun Jingyi couldn't figure out what Ling Shan was thinking. At the moment, the only thing that could make the two interact was the Noble House meeting. That's not it. I just want to ask you to help heal someone. Ling Shan said, finding it hard to bring up the topic. Heal someone? Sun Jingyi frowned. What do you mean? I'm not a doctor. How am I supposed to heal someone? His meridians are damaged. Normal doctors won't be able to help him. I can only ask for your help, Lingshan said carefully. Lingshan, since you're asking for my help, then you should know how special Hao Sun's practitioner's arts are, right? Sun Jingyi didn't reject her directly. She asked in a roundabout way. I know, but he really needs help. If he can't recover, then his family will never be able to recover, Lingshan said. So, I'm begging you from the bottom of my heart. You can help him, no matter what it is. Just tell me. Lingshan, don't you think that your request is a little presumptuous? Sun Jingyi decided to tell the truth. This was a matter of principle. Sun Jingyi couldn't lie to Lingshan. I know it's a little presumptuous, but this is his last hope. Lingshan smiled bitterly. Forgive me for being blunt, but if I heal him, then the true qi produced in my body can only be used by him in the future. I'm not related to him in any way. If it were you, would you do this? Sun Jingyi said faintly. Unless you're my future husband. If not, then I'm sorry. It's fine. Actually, I already knew the result. Jingyi, don't be angry. Lingshan saw that Sun Jingyi was a little angry and quickly explained. I know you're worried, but I really can't do this. Sun Jingyi rejected. Instead of begging me, you might as well get him a meridian opening pill. Meridian opening pill. Lingshan smiled bitterly. This is a treasure, even in a hidden house. How am I supposed to get it? Sun Jingyi shrugged helplessly. It was true. The meridian opening pill was hard to come by even in a hidden house, let alone Lingshan. Otherwise, Hao Sun wouldn't have such a high position as one of the noble houses. Although Hao Sun's arts didn't just heal wounds, it could also increase a person's strength. But if the meridian opening pill was too common, Hao Sun wouldn't be able to rise to such a high position. I'm sorry, but that's not something I need to worry about. Sun Jingyi nodded to Lingshan. Lingshan, if there's nothing else, I'll be leaving first. All right, thank you too. Lingshan sighed and was about to call the waiter for the bill when an ear-piercing alarm sounded. Lingshan raised her head and saw that there was a commotion at the bank across the street. The alarm was coming from the bank. Not good. Lingshan realized something immediately. Excuse me, she said to Jingyi before leaving the money on the table. She didn't even bother to keep the change and ran out of the coffee shop as fast as she could. But even so, Lingshan was one step too slow. A figure carrying a sack ran out of the bank. His speed and body were both super fast, and in the blink of an eye, he disappeared into the alley beside the bank. Lingshan felt a sense of familiarity as she looked at the disappearing silhouette, but she didn't have time to think about it. She crossed the road and rushed to the alley beside the bank, but the alley was empty by the time she got there. There was no one there at all. Chapter 14:30. Looking at the empty alley, Lingshan had no choice but to give up. The robbers should have already left with a vehicle, and chasing after them would be futile. She turned around and went back to the bank, her face a little dark as she yelled, "Everyone, don't panic, I'm the robber. Is the person in charge here?" I'm the vice president on duty," a middle-aged man said as he ran over. "I was the one who called the police. I didn't rush here, I was on the other side of the road and heard the alarm," Lingshan said. "I'm the captain of the city police's criminal investigation team, Song Lingshan. This is my ID. Please tell me what happened and show me the surveillance footage." All right. The vice president, naturally, didn't care if Lingshan just happened to see it or not. He'd heard of Lingshan's name before. It was like this. Lingshan couldn't help but furrow her brows after hearing the vice president's explanation. The exact same robbery method, the exact same outfit, at least from the initial analysis, it should be the same person as the previous robberies. As the vice president was explaining the situation, police sirens came from outside the bank. Lu Wangli brought his men and rushed into the bank, only to see Lingshan there. "Captain Song, why are you here?" Lu Wangli paused. "I was in the cafe opposite, and I saw the whole process of the robber's escape, but he was too quick. He was already gone by the time I got here," Lingshan said, a little regretful. "Yeah, from the previous robberies, this robber seems to have gone through professional training. Not only is he fast, but he's also fast when he escapes. Lu Wangli nodded helplessly. This is the sixth case already. It's only been a few days. Ling Shan could only put Yu Tian's matter aside for now and focus on solving the robberies. The robber's boldness and arrogance were out of her expectations. This robber had reached a stage where he didn't care about anything. Hidden House Zhao, the young master of the house, Zhao Guanyin, was anxiously standing in front of his father's room, waiting for him to come out. Elder Bai, how long has father been in seclusion? Guanyin looked at the time and asked urgently. It's been about 3 days. According to the time, he should be out soon. Elder Bai said faintly, Please don't rush, young master. I'm not allowed to disturb the master when he's in solitary training. In order to advance from the earth rank to the heaven rank, old man Zhao would often go into seclusion, but he would come out every 2 or 3 days to inquire about the Zhao family's affairs. If there was nothing important, he would go back into seclusion. All right. Zhao Guanyin nodded respectfully. Is Guanyin here? Old Zhao's voice came from the room behind Elder Bai. Head, the young head is here. Elder Bai quickly replied respectfully when he heard Elder Zhao's voice. Let him in, old man Zhao said. Yes, patriarch. Elder Bai quickly said and made a welcoming gesture to Guanyin. Young head, please come in. Guanyin nodded and said to Elder Bai, Elder Bai, I have something very important to tell my father. It concerns the future of the Zhao family, so please don't let anyone near. Don't worry, young head, I will watch the door. Elder Bai's face turned serious after hearing Guanyin's words. Although he was directly under Elder Zhao's command, Guanyin was still the young head. Elder Bai still respected him a lot. Since Guanyin said it was important, then whether it was for the sake of the Zhao family or his responsibility to Elder Zhao, he had to guard the door. He couldn't let anyone near. Zhao Guanyin walked into Old Master Zhao's villa. At this moment, Old Master Zhao was sitting in the living room of the villa's main entrance. He was dressed in a white training outfit and held a cup of fragrant tea in his hand. He looked like an immortal. Father, Guanyin bowed and said respectfully, Yes, Guanyin is here. What is it? Lord Zhao nodded and said, From what you said, is there anything that concerns the future development of our Zhao family? What is it? Father, it's about Lil Bing. Guanyin said, Zhao Qibing. Old Zhao couldn't help but frown when he heard the name. He had never liked this illegitimate child. After all, House Zhao and House Yu were in-laws, and Zhao Guanyin had an illegitimate child outside. How was he supposed to face House Yu like this? So, Elder Zhao could only pretend that he didn't know about it and didn't mention it publicly. He also didn't let Qibing return to House Zhao, and House Yu didn't find anything wrong with it. What trouble did he cause this time? Elder Zhao's first thought was that Qibing had caused trouble. Father, Zhao Qibing has done a great deed for House Zhao this time. Zhao Guanyin actually hoped that Elder Zhao would recognize Qibing. After all, Qibing was his son, and Zhao Guanyin was a man who valued boys over girls. Even though Qibing was an illegitimate child, he still valued him a lot. He couldn't help but exaggerate when he introduced Qibing's contributions to the family. Great deed? What credit? Old man Zhao was stunned. What did he do outside? It's like this. Guanyin quickly explained how Qibing and Yao Wang had tricked House Yu's Yu Huoxing into giving them the Qi-gathering pill. What? Qi-gathering pill? This thing really appeared. When old man Zhao heard Zhao Guanyin's words, he immediately stood up in excitement. He was a calm person, and it was rare for anything to make him so excited. However, today he couldn't hold it in anymore. Yes, Zhao Qibing, this child has been hard on him. He's just being filial to you. He's always remembered that you're an Earth Class late phase peak, and he's been trying so hard to break through to Sky Class, but to no avail, so he tried everything he could to find the whereabouts of this Qi-gathering pill. Guanyin said, This child, he dared to ask you Huoxing, an Earth Class, for this pill. He's willing to put his life on the line for you, Father. You have to know that if Yu Huoxing isn't happy, Lil Bing won't be a match for him. Chapter 1431. Guanyin, there's no need to say. I understand what you mean. Old Zhao naturally understood the meaning behind Guanyin's words. He waved his hand and interrupted. Let Elder Bai bring Qibing back. No matter what, whether or not the Qi gathering pill is real or fake, he has this filial piety. As his grandfather, I can't disappoint him. Father is wise, Zhao Guanyin said excitedly after hearing his father's words. Guanyin, this child, I'll acknowledge him this time. Of course, if the pill is real, I'll give him what he deserves, old Zhao said. In our house, we've always been fair with rewards and punishments. Naturally, those who contribute will not be neglected. It should be real. Yu Huoxing risked his life to get it. It can't be fake, Guanyin said, but House Yu. House Yu, keep it a secret from Jean. If Yu Huoxing isn't an idiot, he wouldn't say it himself. Jean may be your wife, but she's still a Yu. Old Zhao said faintly, of course, if we can't keep a secret, then there's no need to keep it. We didn't steal or rob. It was a normal exchange. What can House Yu do to us? So be it. To me, the pill is much more important than the marriage with House Yu. Once I become a sky class, House Zhao's strength will rise to another level. You're right, father. Guanyin breathed a sigh of relief. He was afraid that House Yu would really get the news and push all the responsibility to Qibing, handing him over. But now that Elder Zhao had spoken, he'd take all the responsibility on himself. All right, bye. Come in for a bit. Old Zhao's face was calm, but his heart was impatient. It was a Qi gathering pill. After all, a super medicine that could make him become a sky class. The sooner he used it, the sooner he could become a sky class. Head. Elder Bai quickly walked in and bowed respectfully to Elder Zhao and Guanyin. Bai, you and Guanyin, go to Songshan and bring Qibing back. Make sure he's safe. Old Zhao said. Yes. Elder Bai said. Father, I'm going to Songshan with Elder Bai. Is that okay? As for the Noble House Association, Guanyin was a cautious man. He'd suffered too much from his playfulness when he was young. If it weren't for the marriage with House Yu, he wouldn't have been able to become the young head of the house. Although he was the eldest son, his other brothers weren't any weaker than him. They were all mystic late-phase masters, so Guanyin had to be careful. That's not a problem. You're bringing our son home, not doing anything else. The Arbitration Association won't stick their noses into other people's business. Lord Zhao smiled and said, Guanyin, you've been a bit too careful all these years I've been in seclusion. This isn't the bearing a future patriarch should have. If I really step into the heaven realm, then I won't be managing the family's affairs in the future. I want to pursue a higher heavenly Tao, and you should support the Zhao family. The Arbitration Association doesn't allow people from the hidden houses, especially Earth-class masters, to go to the common world. They're afraid that the hidden houses and the noble houses will have conflicts and break the balance. But if you go to your personal business, that's fine. Yes, father, I understand. Guanyin couldn't help but be overjoyed. Years of wife had finally become a woman. Just as his father had said, once he stepped into the heaven class, then he wouldn't be managing the family's affairs anymore. At that time, he could slowly take over House Zhao and become the true head of the house. Guanyin and Elder Bai didn't stay for long. They both went to pack up and prepare to leave for Songshan, Floating Cloud Bar. A black Audi A8L quietly parked in front of the door. After the driver got off, he quickly opened the front and back doors. The first to get off was naturally Elder Bai, followed by Guanyin. No matter what, Zhao Guanyin was the future head of House Zhao, and old Zhao's words had revealed some information. Elder Bai naturally had to give him the necessary respect. Elder Bai and Guanyin entered the Floating Cloud Bar. The bar was already open for business, and there was a lot of noise inside. Elder Bai frowned, evidently not a fan of this environment, but he didn't say anything. Where's your boss? Guanyin asked a random waiter. You're looking for the boss? Please wait a moment. The waiter wasn't surprised. He knew that there were many people who came to the bar to ask for Yao Wang's help. So he used the walkie-talkie to contact Su Jianong. Mr. Su, someone's looking for you. Su Jianong quickly walked out of the room and saw Guanyin and Elder Bai. But Su Jianong didn't know them. He walked over and said, I'm the owner of the bar, Su Jianong. What do you need? Su Jiaonong? Is Zhao Qibing here? Guanyin thought that his name was a joke. It was comparable to Tsihua's. You're looking for Master Bing? May I ask who you are? Jiaonong couldn't tell what these two were here for, and he didn't know if they were here to cause trouble or to seek medical help. I'm his father, Guanyin said impatiently. Get Zhao Qibing out here. Jiaonong paused, subconsciously thinking that this was a sexual assault. After all, someone suddenly appeared out of nowhere and said that he was Zhao Qibing's father. It was normal for Jiaonong to misunderstand. Sihua bro, someone's sexual assault. Jiaonong quickly turned on the walkie-talkie and asked Sihua for help. Guanyin was about to explode. He came here to look for his son, but was treated as a sexual assault? What kind of logic was this? He was just about to explode when he saw Sihua rush out of the room with a few of his men behind him. Sihua said as he walked, "Who dares to commit sexual assault here? Do you want to die?" Sihua bro, it's him. He says he's Master Bing's father. Jiaonong pointed at Guanyin. Boss. Jiaonong didn't know Guanyin, but Sihua did. Sihua jumped when he saw that Guanyin was here in person. He kicked Jiaonong. You bastard, this is the big boss. What kind of eyes do you have? He's Master Bing's father. Jiaonong paused, his face darkening. How would he know that this was Zhao Qibing's father? Chapter 1432. Sihua nodded and went into the room to push Qibing out in a wheelchair. Qibing was pleasantly surprised to hear that his father was here to welcome him. Dad, you're here? And Zhao Guangyi nodded. Qibing, take that thing and come with me to the Zhao family. There were too many people here, so Guangyin didn't mention the Qi gathering pill. Okay. Qibing nodded quickly. That thing is in my arms. Should we leave now? Let's go. Guangyin knew that Qibing's legs were broken, but seeing his son in a wheelchair with his own eyes still made him very emotional. He walked over and pushed Qibing's wheelchair towards the entrance of the bar. Sihua, I'll leave everything here to you. Don't worry, boss. I'll do my best to take care of things here while Master Bing isn't here. Sihua nodded. Okay, but remember, you have to keep a low profile during this time. Don't cause any trouble. Guanyin reminded, there's a saying that goes, take a step back and you'll see the world. The head of the house is definitely going into isolation, and we can't let anything happen during this time. We have to do everything we can to pave the way for the head of the house to level up. Yes, boss. Sihua's face turned serious as he replied. It seemed that old Zhao was going to break through to Sky Class soon, and once he did, the strength of House Zhao would increase immeasurably, so they couldn't let anything happen while he was leveling up. Guangyi nodded and left the bar with Elder Bai and Qibing. They came to the car, and Elder Bai carried Qibing to the back seat first, leaving him in the front passenger seat. He did this because Guangyin was the future head of the house, and because Qibing had done a great service for House Zhao. If the Qi gathering pill was real, then Qibing's position would definitely rise, and he might even become the heir. After Zhao Guangyin got in the car, he ordered the driver to drive back to the Zhao family. They didn't want to stay in Songshan for too long. Qibing, let me introduce you. This is Elder Bai, your grandpa's housekeeper, and also the old housekeeper of House Zhao. Guangyin said, you can call him Grandpa Bai. Yes, father, Qibing replied respectfully before turning to Elder Bai. Hello, Grandpa Bai. Thank you for your help earlier. Haha, young master, this kid is not bad. He's polite. Elder Bai smiled and nodded. Guanyin felt a bit awkward. He knew that Elder Bai was implying that his and Yu Xiaojin's son was arrogant and bossy, but it wasn't too surprising. He was the son of the first wife, the son of the head of the house. Especially at their rebellious age, they didn't know their place. This Zhao Qibing, on the other hand, was praised by Elder Bai. Guangyi knew what kind of person Qibing was. He was arrogant and bossy outside, but he was a bit more obedient in front of the elders. But Zhao Guangyin wouldn't say anything. In the family, although he was the young master, Elder Bai was very close to his second brother's son. He didn't like Zhao Guangyin's own son, and Elder Bai was an elder of the family. When Zhao Guangyin became the head of the family, he would definitely enter the elder council. So his opinion on the next head of the family was very important. Now that he had a good impression of Qibing, Guanyin was happy. When it came to choosing the next head of the house, even if Qibing was chosen, it would be much better than his second brother's son. You're flattering me, Elder Bai. Being polite is a traditional virtue, Qibing said humbly. But I haven't seen much of the world, so I don't know the rules. Please don't mind me, Elder Bai. When I see Grandpa later, please give me some pointers. Of course. When the time comes, you'll just follow your Grandpa Bai. I'll help you check. Elder Bai was very happy with Qibing's words. They didn't say anything on the way, and when the car entered the Zhao Manor, Qibing and Elder Bai breathed out in relief. The importance of this pill was priceless, and they were afraid that something would happen on the way. Fortunately, Housey didn't know anything yet. After entering the manor, they could only park in the parking lot. The inside of the manor was full of rugged paths, and only people could walk, not cars. So Guanyin and Elder Bai had to get off the car and walk, while Qibing was still in the wheelchair. Qibing was fascinated by the scenery inside the manor. Was this house Zhao? Wouldn't it be great if he became the master of this place? Zhao Qibing took a deep breath. He had decided that he had to seize this opportunity. If he became the master of House Zhao one day, then whatever Lin Yi, whatever Air Gooden, they wouldn't even be able to do anything to him. They were just ants in front of him. Guanyin didn't think that he'd see his wife, Yu Xiaojin, not long after he got off the car, staring at Qibing. Although she was asking him, it was obvious that she'd recognized him. With Yu Xiaojin's information network, he believed that she'd gotten hold of Qibing's information a long time ago. It was just that Guanyin hadn't had much contact with Qibing these past few years, and Qibing hadn't returned to House Zhao yet, so she turned a blind eye to it. But this time, Guanyin had brought Qibing back so brazenly, and this made Xiaojin uncomfortable. Xiaojin, this is Zhao Qibing. You should know him already. I won't introduce him, Guanyin said awkwardly. He didn't know why Qibing was here. Wow, Guanyin, you're really something. Xiaojin smiled coldly. I thought that you'd let go of that thought after all these years, but you actually brought him back. Young madam, if you have something to say to the young head, we'll talk about it when we're free. Elder Bai cut her off coldly. The head said that he wants to see Qibing, and I'm bringing him to him. What? Xiaojin paused. She didn't think that would be Elder Zhao wanting to see Qibing. She thought that Guanyin wanted to talk to Elder Bai and let Qibing return to his ancestry, but she didn't expect this to be the case. Chapter 1433. Oh, okay. Xiaojin was helpless. Old Zhao had spoken, and as much as she didn't want to, there was nothing she could do. She just didn't understand. Didn't old Zhao always hate Guanyin's playfulness when he was young? He hated his illegitimate son as well. And Qibing hadn't been home all this time because the old man didn't support him. Guanyin didn't dare bring this up. Xiaojin's eyes were full of suspicions as she watched the three of them leave. She was from a hidden house, after all, and wasn't an idiot. But since it was old Zhao who had ordered it, she couldn't just ask him about it. She could only keep her suspicions for now. Qibing, when you see Grandpa later, you have to be polite. Don't say anything you shouldn't. Guanyin reminded Qibing at the entrance of old Zhao's villa. Don't worry, father. I won't say anything. Qibing nodded and said cautiously. Elder Bai had already gone in to inform old Zhao, but came back quickly. Young master, Qibing, the old head wants us to go in together. Right now, Qibing hadn't been acknowledged by old Zhao yet, so Elder Bai called him by his name. Once he did, he'd have to call him Master Bing. No matter how high Elder Bai's position was, he was still the head housekeeper of House Zhao, and he couldn't just ignore the rules. Guanyin nodded and brought Qibing into the villa. This was Qibing's first time meeting old Zhao, and he'd only met Guanyin before. The white-robed old man in front of him gave Qibing a lot of pressure, and he didn't dare look him in the eye. Luckily, he was in a wheelchair, and he had something to support him, so he wasn't too nervous. Qibing, right? Raise your head. Let Grandpa see you. Old Zhao sighed softly when he saw Qibing. This kid was already so old, but this was his first time seeing him in person. He'd only seen pictures before. "Yes, Grandpa." Cheebing raised his head respectfully. "Please forgive me, Grandpa. I can't stand up to greet you. My leg injury hasn't healed yet. It's all right." Old Zhao waved his hand, not reacting to Cheebing's politeness like Elderbai did. Old Zhao knew Cheebing better than Elderbai. He knew that this grandson of his was a bit wild outside. So he didn't know if the politeness in front of him was fake or real. "I heard that you got a chi gathering pill." "Yes, Grandpa, it's here." Zhao Cheebing carefully took out the bottle from his pocket and held it with both hands. "I've never seen you before, Grandpa, but I've always been thinking about you. So when I heard that House Yu Huoxing had this pill, I tried everything I could to get it for you, Grandpa." "Lil Bai, have you checked the chi convergence pill?" Lord Zhao asked. "No, the young master and I didn't touch the pill. We wanted you to check it yourself," Elderbai said carefully. One had to know that Elderbai was an Earth class late phase peak, just one step away from Sky class. To avoid suspicion, he didn't touch the chi gathering pill. It wouldn't be good if it turned out to be fake and people suspected that he'd secretly swapped it out. "Bring it here." Old Zhao nodded. He knew what Elderbai was thinking, but after all these years, he trusted Elderbai a lot. Every time he found a treasure, Elderbai would give it to him first. "Yes." Guanyin took the bottle from Cheebing's hands and gave it to Old Zhao. Old Master Zhao took the small bottle and immediately became excited. Looking at the small bottle in his hand, Old Master Zhao took a deep breath and carefully opened it. He put it under his nose and sniffed it. His face immediately revealed a surprised expression. Yes, this must be the Chi Convergence pill. Old Man Zhao's breakthrough was imminent, so he had a deeper understanding of the Chi gathering pill than others. He had also searched everywhere for this kind of pill, so he had an unusual understanding of the appearance and smell of the pill. So with just one look, Old Man Zhao could basically confirm that this was a Chi gathering pill. It really is the Chi Convergence pill. Old Zhao stood up abruptly and looked at Cheebing excitedly. "Huh, I didn't expect this. I really didn't expect this. Our House Zhao has so many capable people, and we've tried our best to find it, but it was the bastard of House Zhao who found it. I didn't even mention this to him, but he had the intention to do so. You guys take a look. Guanyin, you take a look too. This grandson is amazing." One couldn't blame Old Zhao for being so happy and excited. This was a spirit herb that had allowed him to step into the Sky class, and it could be said that Zhao Cheebing was the hero of House Zhao. No one could compare to what he had done. "Grandpa, you're flattering me. Cheebing may be a bastard, and he grew up among the commoners, but Cheebing always remembers that he's a member of House Zhao. So House Zhao's business is Cheebing's business. This is what Cheebing should do. There's nothing to be proud of," Cheebing said respectfully. "Not bad, you're not bad." Old Zhao finally gave Cheebing a positive evaluation. "You're thoughtful. This time, what reward do you want? Tell me, as long as I can do it, I'll promise you." Cheebing heard his grandpa's words and was overjoyed. He wanted to be the heir of House Zhao, the future head of House Zhao, but he couldn't say this out loud. He wasn't an idiot, and his grandpa was just being polite. If he really said that he wanted to be the head of House Zhao, it'd be too arrogant. Even if his grandpa didn't say anything, he'd definitely not like him in the future, and he wouldn't be able to be the heir then. So, Zhao Cheebing's expression remained unperturbed. "I've said it before, this is something I should do. It's not a merit. Since it's something I should do, what reward do I still need?" Lenny nodded. "Huh." Old Zhao laughed. "You really don't want a reward? Say it, like you want to practice, or you want to return to House Zhao, or even raise you as the heir." Chapter 1434. This, can I really ask for it? Can you really agree to anything, Grandpa? Cheebing hesitated, pretending to be greedy. "Of course, I'm a man of my word." Disappointment flashed across Old Zhao's eyes as he saw Cheebing's impatience. He'd thought that this bastard who grew up among the commoners was special, but he didn't think that he'd reveal his true self so quickly under his own temptation. But no matter what, Zhao Qibing was the biggest contributor to House Zhao, so as long as he made a request, old Zhao would have to agree. Not only did it involve old Zhao's reputation, but it was also for others to see. Old Zhao wouldn't mistreat anyone who contributed to House Zhao. Then, I'll ask for something that's too much. Qibing gritted his teeth, as if he'd made a huge decision. Say it. Old Zhao's face was a little unhappy, but he didn't show it on his face. Grandpa, I know that this request is a little too much, but I still have to say it. Qibing said, Grandpa, I want to ask for a meridian opening pill. I hope you can agree to it. Huh? Old Zhao paused. He thought that Qibing would say that he wanted to be the next head of House Zhao, and old Zhao would agree. But he'd seen through Qibing's character, and if he didn't have any achievements in the future, it wouldn't be too late to cripple him then. But he didn't think that Qibing would ask for a meridian opening pill. This pill was precious, but Qibing couldn't use it, could he? This was a medicine that could only be used when a practitioner's meridians were injured, and Qibing wasn't a practitioner, nor did he have any meridians injured. Why would he need it? I know that it's precious. Qibing couldn't help but say in disappointment when he saw old Zhao's surprise. You want it? Old Master Zhao's expression was a little strange. The meridian unblocking pill is expensive, but compared to the qi gathering pill, it's a world of difference. It's just that I'm a little curious. What do you want the meridian unblocking pill for? It's like this: Uncle Zhu is my underling, and he risked his life to protect me. That Lin Yi injured his meridians, and now he's fallen from Mystic to Golden Class. I don't want him to be crippled just like that, so I'm asking for a meridian opening pill for him so that he can practice again. Qibing said, Oh, is that so? Old Zhao was shocked by Qibing's words. He didn't think that Qibing would ask for the meridian opening pill for Uncle Zhu. It was such a good opportunity. Zhao Qibing could have asked for something he wanted, but he gave it to someone else. Elder Zhao couldn't help but reevaluate Zhao Qibing. It seemed that he had misjudged this kid before. This kid was a loyal and righteous person. From helping him find the pills to asking for Uncle Zhu's medicine, all of these prove this point, causing old man Zhao to be filled with emotions. This grandson who grew up among the commoners was really not an ordinary person. Yes. I hope that you can fulfill my wish, Grandpa. Qibing nodded solemnly. All right, I'll agree to this request of yours. But this request is something that House Zhao should do. Little Zhu is your underling, and my underling as well. Giving him the meridian opening pill is also House Zhao's responsibility. Elder Zhao nodded. That doesn't count. What else do you want? Tell me. This time, Elder Zhao really hoped that Qibing would ask for something. After all, Qibing was a great hero, and if he didn't ask for something, Elder Zhao would feel bad. But, Grandpa, I really don't have anything else to ask for. Qibing thought about it and shook his head. Qibing, do you want to become a practitioner? Elder Bai suddenly asked. That, of course, but I'm past the best age for practicing, so I can't practice anymore. Qibing smiled bitterly. That's fine. Since you've heard of the meridian opening pill and the qi gathering pill, then you should have heard of a pill called the foundation pill. It can change your meridians and bones, allowing you to step onto the path of practice. With that, Elder Bai turned to Elder Zhao. Head, Xiao Bai has a request. I want to take Qibing as my disciple. I hope that you can grant my request. Oh, Xiao Bai, you want to take a disciple? Isn't that rare? There are so many disciples in the house who want to be your disciple, and you've never agreed to any of them. Now you're bringing it up yourself? Elder Zhao looked at Elder Bai, surprised. Zhao Qibing's character is commendable, and he's done a lot for House Zhao. He meets my requirements for a disciple. Elder Bai said, if that's the case, then Qibing can't ask for more. I'll make the decision on my own and let Qibing be your disciple. Elder Zhao nodded. He was shocked. Elder Zhao didn't say who would be the heir in the third generation, but Elder Bai's attitude was very important. He wanted to ascend to sky class and then pursue the path of the heavens. So other than Zhao Guangyin's responsibility, Elder Bai was also in charge of the family. If Elder Bai had his eyes on a young disciple, then that young disciple would very likely become the next heir. It seemed like Qibing had a lot of hope, but Elder Zhao didn't purposely stop him. Since Qibing was part of House Zhao's bloodline and had done a lot for House Zhao, and it seemed like he had a good character, then there was no problem for him to be the heir for now. Qibing, hurry up and greet your master. Zhao Guangyin's emotions were very complicated, but he was also very happy. Qibing was his son, after all. Now that he was taken in as Elder Bai's disciple, his status would definitely skyrocket in the future. He might even become the new head of the house. Qibing greets master. Zhao Qibing was so happy that he wanted to kneel down and kowtow, but there was something wrong with his legs. The moment he kneeled, he fell off the wheelchair and fell flat on his back, almost breaking his head. Don't kneel. It's not too late to kneel when your legs are healed. Elder Bai was very happy to see Qibing's respect for his master. He smiled as he helped him up and put him back on the wheelchair. All right, Qibing, you might not understand why Lil Bai took you in as a disciple, but I'll let Guangyin explain it to you later. I'm going into isolation. You have to work hard. Elder Zhao nodded to Qibing. He couldn't wait to go into isolation. Chapter 1435. Ah, good. Very good. Old Zhao was very happy. He turned to Elder Bai and Guangyin. Guangyin, Lil Bai, I'll leave the house to you for a while. I'm going into isolation, and it might take a long time. Be careful during this time, and don't cause any trouble. If anything happens, just hold it in. Once I become a sky class, House Zhao won't be afraid of anyone. I understand, father. I told Sihua to keep a low profile already. Zhao Guangyin nodded as he said this. Let's search for it. With old Zhao's approval, Qibing, naturally, moved into House Zhao officially. There was a lot of questioning in the house, but old Zhao was already in isolation, and even if they were dissatisfied, they couldn't do anything about it. Plus, old Zhao wouldn't allow anyone to question his decision. Of course, that wasn't all. The news of Elder Bai taking Qibing as a disciple exploded in everyone's ears. This was what made Xiao Jin feel threatened. Qibing returning to House Zhao wasn't a big deal, and Xiao Jin would at most feel uncomfortable, but it wouldn't affect anything. But Elder Bai taking Qibing as a disciple was something thought-provoking. Could it be that old Zhao was planning on making Qibing the heir of House Zhao? Yu Xiaojin exploded the moment Guangyin returned to his room that night. She had to get to the bottom of this. What was this Zhao Qibing doing here? Zhao Guangyin, tell me, were you planning by bringing this bastard back? Xiaojin was someone with a strong back. She didn't need to be humble in House Zhao. Elder Bai taking him in as a disciple. Is he planning on making him the next head of the house? I'm telling you, that's impossible. The head of the house has to be our child. Xiaojin wasn't a shrew before, but this was out of her expectations. She had to get to the bottom of this. Xiaojin, father was the one who brought Lil Bing back, and Elder Bai was the one who suggested taking him in as a disciple. Guangyin said, don't yell at me. Even I don't know the inside story. It's not a secret. You can ask Elder Bai if you don't believe me. Okay, I'm tired. I'm going to rest. It was the first time Guangyin had treated Xiaojin so coldly. He and Xiaojin didn't have much of a relationship, after all. Guangyin had played with countless women in his life, and Xiaojin was just a union of benefits. He let her have her way before because House Zhao needed to borrow House Yu's power, but now that his father was a sky class, he'd be on the same level as House Yu. He didn't have to care about Xiaojin's feelings anymore. Plus, Guangyin really couldn't explain anything to Xiaojin about Qibing. The elixir was stolen from House Yu's hands in the first place, and he'd definitely slip up if he said too much. So, Guangyin decided to just keep quiet. Xiaojin was visibly taken aback by Guangyin's attitude, but she was someone from a big house, after all. She felt that there was something fishy about this whole thing. It didn't make sense. If Zhao Guangyin ignored her, then Xiaojin wouldn't keep causing trouble. That would only make their relationship even more awkward. Xiaojin decided to give her brother a call. Her father was in isolation all year round, becoming the guardian of House Yu. He wouldn't come out easily, and Xiaojin's brother, Yu Xiaoqin, was the one in charge of everything. Hello. The phone was picked up, but it was a girl's voice. Is this Xiaoning? I'm your aunt. Xiaojin could tell that it was Yu Ning's voice and smiled. Is your dad here? I need to talk to him about something. Auntie, wait for a second. Dad is talking to his underlings. Can I ask him to call you back when he comes back? Yuning asked. That's fine. Then let him call me when he comes back. Make sure to call my phone. Don't call our house. Xiaojin said. All right. Yuning was a little doubtful. Did something happen to her aunt in House Xiao? But Yuning didn't ask. She really didn't want to get involved in family matters, and she didn't want to carry the burden of House Yu's mission. She just wanted to be a normal girl. Ning, who's calling? A boy around the same age as Yuning walked over. Brother, it's Auntie. She's looking for father. Yuning said. Since you're here, I'll go back to my room. Tell Dad later. Okay. Yuning's brother smiled bitterly. Going back to paint? No. Yuning shook her head. Is there still no news of him? There is. But there are some things that are hard to say. Yuning didn't say who it was, but her brother knew that it was Lin Yi. Before, there was no news of Lin Yi, but now there was news of Lin Yi. There was a lot of it, but he didn't know how to tell Yuning. Lin Yi was actually mortal enemies with the Common World's House Yu. Naturally, House Yu would stand behind the Common World's House Yu, and Yuning couldn't do anything about it. As a result, he was afraid that his sister would do something irrational, so he didn't know if he should tell her the truth or not. As the heir of House Yu, Yu Bing naturally had access to the information channels of House Yu. Recently, there was more and more news about Lin Yi. It made Yu Bing happy, but at the same time, he was in a dilemma. He didn't want House Yu to have conflict with Lin Yi. Whether it was from his or his sister's point of view, he didn't want House Yu to become Lin Yi's enemy. However, House Yu wasn't under his control. The current head of House Yu was their father, Yu Xiaochun, and the Common World's House Yu had earned a lot of money for House Yu. Although the Hidden House Yu had never put the Common World's House Yu in their eyes. The Hidden House Yu couldn't just sit back and do nothing if something happened to the Common World House Yu. So, Yu Bing had been trying his best to play down the negative news about Lin Yi and let his father focus on the Qi-gathering pill. His father was now an Earth-class late-phase peak, one step away from Sky-class. If he had the Qi-gathering pill, then reaching Sky-class wouldn't be a dream anymore. Brother, there's really news about him. Why didn't you tell me? Yuning grabbed her brother's arm in surprise and shook it. Tell me. Chapter 1436. Ah, Yuning was shocked. Then what do we do? Can't you go and mediate in private? Yuning was a little anxious and angry. This Lin Yi, of all people, he had to make enemies with House Yu. By doing this, wasn't it making things more and more difficult for her and Lin Yi to be enemies? Yuning had been fighting all these years, and although there was no result, she still had hope in her heart. But if Lin Yi and House Yu became enemies, then all hope would be gone. There's no way to mediate. Yu Bing smiled bitterly. The common House Yu, one dead and one injured, it's a life and death grudge. Even if we're the Hidden House Yu, we can't just suppress this grudge. It's fine if we don't do anything, but asking them to let go of this grudge is too much. One dead and one injured. Yuning didn't think that Lin Yi would be this ruthless, killing one and injuring one from the common House Yu. That was an irreconcilable grudge. Even the Hidden House Yu couldn't do that. Yuning understood that the hidden houses always prioritized benefits. As for personal feelings, that was only a consideration when the benefits were balanced. So this time, her house definitely wouldn't stand on Lin Yi's side, and Yuning couldn't do anything about it. Sister, don't worry. I'll try my best to convince father to let the Hidden House Yu not do anything. The only ones who will be looking for Lin Yi is the common House Yu. Lin Yi should be able to handle it. He's not stupid. Is there something wrong with offending the common House Yu when he knows he can't win? Yu Bing said, it's been so long, and the common House Yu still hasn't done anything to Lin Yi. This proves this point. That's the only way. Big brother, I'll leave this to you. Yuning nodded, relaxing a little. As long as the Hidden House Yu didn't do anything, then Lin Yi shouldn't be in much danger. We're siblings. There's no need for pleasantries. I'll just do my best, Yu Bing nodded. In the meeting room of House Yu, Yu Xiaochun met with Elder Yu Huoxing. So you didn't find the Qi gathering pill, and you didn't find a refinement method? Not only did you come here for nothing, you even got hurt? Xiaochen asked in a low voice. Yes, master. That tomb was too dangerous, and the tomb robbers even started fighting amongst themselves. Quite a few of them died, and in the end, no one entered the underground palace. Elder Yu said carefully. In front of the head of the house, Yu Xiaochen, Elder Yu didn't dare act rashly. Yu Xiaochen was an Earth-class late-phase peak, much stronger than Elder Yu. Plus, Elder Yu had a guilty conscience, so he didn't even dare to breathe. Trash. Yu Xiaochen was a little disappointed. It was just a simple mission, and you ended up like this. What a piece of trash. Yu Huoxing was grumbling in his heart. If it wasn't for the fact that you guys didn't want to treat my poison, why would I have handed over the pills? If I had handed over the pills earlier, would you have given me $1 billion to treat my injuries? I'm afraid I would have been left to fend for myself. Yu Huoxing understood House Yu's way of doing things. The head of the house, Yu Xiaochen, was a snobbish person, and it wouldn't be a problem for him to spend $1 billion on the qi-gathering pill, but it was impossible for him to spend $1 billion to treat his injuries. As a result, Yu Huoxing decided to hide the truth. House Yu couldn't possibly have any connection with the tomb robbers, and if he didn't say anything, how would House Yu know? House Xiao wouldn't say anything even if they got the benefits, and Yu Huoxing wasn't worried about that. I'm sorry. Master, please punish me. Yu Huoxing knew that although he didn't complete the mission, he didn't do anything wrong, and Xiaochen wouldn't do anything to him. At most, his position in house Yu would still be that lowly, and he wouldn't be given much training resources every month. Forget it. You can leave. I'll think of something about the tomb robbers. Xiaochen waved his hand impatiently. It was as Yu Huoxing had thought. He wouldn't punish Yu Huoxing, but he was a little annoyed. He'd been waiting for the qi-gathering pill for a long time, and now he couldn't get it. It was like a horse with a bunch of fresh grass tied to its head. It could see it, but it couldn't eat it. Yes. Yu Huoxing's heart sank. Xiaochen wouldn't send someone else to rob the tomb, would he? But then, he thought of the dangers in the tomb and the powerful guardian beast, and he relaxed. If there weren't any tomb robbers following them, even a sky class wouldn't be able to return. Xiaochen looked at Elder Yu's back and waved his hand, his face dark. One of his men quickly came over and whispered, Master, what are your orders? Yu Lu, keep an eye on Yu Huoxing. Xiaochen said, Yes, master. You're suspecting him. Yu Lu asked carefully. That's right. This old thing is from the common world House Yu, and he's not on our side. I'm afraid that he'll keep the things for himself after he gets them. Xiaochen said, Don't alert him, just search in the dark. Yes, master. Yu Lu replied. He was a servant, but he was an Earth-class mid-phase peak, much stronger than Yu Huoxing. There was no way he'd be discovered if he kept an eye on Yu Huoxing. Yuan didn't hesitate after receiving Gooden's call and decided to go home with him. Yu Ren and Yuan's mother didn't want her daughter to leave, but Yuan had made up her mind. Yuren could only tell her to be careful and take care of Zhou Jiaming, and to call home when they arrived. A grown girl can't be kept at home. Yuren sighed. Dad, why don't you and Mom go there as well? I heard from Zhou Jiaming that it's in the mountains. The air is good. Yuan said, that's all right. After a few years, we can go there too. Yuren nodded. His daughter was going, and there was no point for him and his wife to stay here. Mrs. Yu, on the other hand, had tears in her eyes, unwilling to leave. Lin Yi, Meng Yao, Yu Shu, and Tang Yin all came to send them off as well. Gooden's dedication in this period of time really touched the girls. He was Lin Yi's follower, but they had built up some friendships over this period of time. If there's anything here, just come to me. Lin Yi smiled to Yu Ren. Uncle Yu, Gooden and I are brothers. If there's anything, just come to me, just like how you look for him. Chapter 1437. Boss, you have to take care of yourself. Lin Yi and I will come visit you. Chen Tian said to Gooden as he laid on the wheelchair. It's fine. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine when I get back. Gooden forced a smile as he was supported by Yuan. Linny nodded. Gooden was telling the truth. He'd recover after drinking some spring water. The train's whistle sounded, and Gooden and Yuan entered the ticket checkpoint. After seeing them off, everyone left the train station. After sending Tang Yin home, Lin Yi went back to the villa with Meng Yao, Yu Shu, and Chen Tian. Shield bro, did you find the fire spirit's fruit? Can Xiao Xiao be saved? I haven't seen her in so long. I miss her quite a bit. I don't have anyone to play with anymore. Yu Shu said with nostalgia. No, but I found some news about the fruit. I'm planning to go look for it after settling things at home, Lin Yi said. The process might be long, so you guys stay at home and take care of yourself. Don't worry about the bodyguards. Chen Tian should be fine. But I don't like him. He's so stupid. Yu Shu didn't like Chen Tian at all. She felt that this guy was a bit stupid. Shu, don't talk nonsense. Meng Yao kicked Yu Shu and turned to Chen Tian. I'm sorry. Shu's just like that. It's fine, as long as you don't like me. If you did, I wouldn't dare be liked. Chen Tian said, as if it was natural. Meng Yao didn't know what to say. Shu was right. This guy was really stupid, not knowing that she was speaking up for him. The little pig at home is called Skybolt Pig. With its help, I'll be able to find the fruit. Lin Yi said, Don't worry. There won't be any danger along the way. That's good. Meng Yao nodded. She didn't want him to leave, but because of her personality, she wouldn't say anything to make him stay. On the other hand, Lin Yi had no choice but to go. If he wanted to cure Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi had to go. I'm going to help Chen Tian heal and increase his strength. Call me if you need anything, Lin Yi said before entering the bedroom with Chen Tian. Yao Yao, Shield Bro is leaving, but I want to go with him. Yu Shu hesitated. No, you have to stay and take the college entrance exam. College entrance exams are coming up, Meng Yao said. Besides, you won't be able to help even if you go. He still has to take care of you. Oh. Yu Shu was a little disappointed, but Meng Yao was right. She really couldn't help much. Lin Yi went back to the room and said to Chen Tian, I'm going to heal you now, and after that, I'll help you increase your strength. But you're a physical practitioner, and I'm not very good with that, so I can only make some medicine for you. But I can turn you into a spiritual practitioner, and you'll focus on physical and support internal. With both, you'll be stronger than people of the same level, and you'll be able to fight people of a higher level. Chen Tian froze. He couldn't believe his ears. Lin Yi boss, what did you say? I think I was hearing things. I didn't hear you clearly. After all, the dream of every physical practitioner was to do both. That way, not only would they be able to bridge the gap between spiritual and physical practitioners, but they'd also be able to surpass spiritual practitioners of the same level. Plus, the two complemented each other, and it didn't matter if you leveled up your physical or spiritual practitioner first, you'd be able to bring the one that hadn't leveled up first to level up. This was the so-called the east side is not bright, the west side is bright. For example, if an external master reached the mystic rank first, then when he broke through to the mystic rank, he would no longer feel the bottleneck. Similarly, if the internal master reached the mystic rank first, then it would be a lot easier to break through to the external master. A physical practitioner at the early phase of mystic wouldn't have much of a problem fighting a spiritual practitioner at the mid phase of mystic. Both of them would be on par, and this was similar to Lin Yi's unique practitioner's arts, but Lin Yi's was a little more mysterious. The meridians in your ears are fine. Lin Yi checked Chen Tian's ears and said, So you didn't hear things wrongly. I don't want to repeat myself. House, we should have a spiritual practitioner's arts too, right? Spiritual, yes. Chen Tian heard Lin Yi mention the spiritual practitioner's arts again, and he finally confirmed that Lin Yi wasn't joking with him. He was being serious. This meant that Lin Yi really wanted to turn him into a spiritual practitioner. Every external sect or noble house had their own spiritual practitioner's arts. This spiritual practitioner's arts weren't particularly high class, but it was the most compatible with the external practitioner's arts they practiced. The two could complement each other. This kind of inferior spiritual practitioner's arts wasn't a secret, and many noble houses had them. House Wu was no exception. However, the people of the Wu clan weren't suited to cultivate internal mental techniques. Moreover, the people of the Wu clan couldn't even spend all their time cultivating external mental techniques. So where would they find the time to study internal mental techniques? Although everyone knew that cultivating internal chi would allow one to gain greater strength, the key issue was that one had to be able to cultivate it. In the Wu family, only old Master Wu Gonggao, had studied internal chi for a while, but he didn't have much success, so he gave up. So, even the strongest person in House Wu Gonggao, didn't make much progress, let alone the others. Qin Tian, on the other hand, had followed them for a few days, but he didn't make much progress. Do you know the chant? So you've practiced it before? Lenny asked. I did, and I still remember the chant, but it's just a little bit of pure chi. The chi in my house is too thin, and I don't have spiritual herbs, so I gave up, Qin Tian said honestly. That's right, Lenny. All right, I'll heal you first, and you'll be fine when you start the chant. It might be painful during the breakthrough. Can you take it? Lenny asked. Chapter 1438. Qin Tian was overjoyed. Didn't that mean he was going to be awesome? The more he thought about it, the more excited he got. I'm not afraid of hardships. When I was training my iron fist, I put my hand in hot charcoal. It's fine, Lenny boss, don't worry. I can take it. As long as I can level up, I'll be fine even if you beat me to death. Beat you to death, and you'll still level up. Lin, he was speechless. This guy's thinking was a little off, but Lin, he didn't say much. He only nodded and put his hand on Qin Tian's meridians. Qin Tian thought that Lin, he was checking his meridians, but the next moment, he felt that the injured parts of his body were being healed by a strong energy. In an instant, his injuries were healed a little. This was something Qin Tian couldn't imagine. Qin Tian's eyes widened. He was from a noble house, and he had gotten injured many times when he practiced martial arts. After he got injured, there were also private doctors in the family who would heal him. Although these doctors were better than normal clinics, Qin Tian had never seen Lin Yi's healing method before. What was this called? Checking the meridians? Qin Tian had never seen this before. But after Qin Tian screamed, he quickly shut his mouth. He saw that Lin, he had his eyes closed, clearly focused on healing him. Qin Tian didn't want to disturb him. Time passed, and Qin Tian was getting more and more shocked. He couldn't believe that his injuries could be healed so quickly. It had only been a short while, but the internal injuries in his body were already almost healed. Suddenly, he thought of a shocking possibility. Wasn't House Sun a healing house? He wanted to marry Sun Jingyi because he wanted her to heal him when he was injured, right? But how could Lin know House Sun's arts? But that didn't make sense. It seemed that the Sun family's mental cultivation method could only heal one person, but Lin Yi seemed to be able to heal many people. Qin Tian had heard of Lin Yi's amazing medical skills. He'd even thought that Lin Yi was a liar who wanted to treat his aunt's father-in-law. But now it seemed that Lin Yi wasn't a liar at all. It was his own ignorance. Just thinking about it made Qin Tian blush. Fortunately, Lin Yi was a magnanimous person and didn't bring it up again. In fact, it was because of Qin Tian's dedication that made Lin Yi accept him. If it weren't for Tang Yun, Lin Yi wouldn't have accepted him so easily. What Qin Tian didn't expect was that almost all of his damaged meridians were healed, and even some of the internal injuries from his training were healed by Lin Yi. Qin Tian couldn't help but want to cheer. His two bosses were one stronger than the other. No wonder Erguden had to call Lin Yi boss even though he was so strong. He couldn't help but be impressed. Start channeling your practitioner's arts, Lin Yi suddenly said to Qin Tian. Oh, okay. Qin Tian paused and quickly replied. He didn't dare to delay and started channeling his practitioner's arts. Qin Tian felt a sudden surge of pure qi coming from Lin Yi and entering his body. Qin Tian's practitioner's arts, which were extremely awkward at first, became smooth all of a sudden. The reason why it wasn't smooth before was because there wasn't any spiritual qi in the world, and there wasn't any spiritual medicine for training. But now, with Lin Yi's pure qi flowing in, Chun Tian didn't have any bottlenecks like before, and his spiritual strength increased rapidly. Chun Tian was surprised and happy, but he didn't dare to delay or rest, afraid that he'd waste a bit of pure qi. He was shocked that Lin Yi was giving him the pure qi, but since Lin Yi had already done it, if he didn't accept it, he'd be letting down Lin Yi's good intentions. He had to train even harder, but Chun Tian felt that Lin Yi was becoming more and more like how Sun's practitioner's arts. Could it be that Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi really had some sort of relationship? But no matter what, he had already given up on Sun Jingyi, so he shouldn't think about Sun Jingyi anymore. Plus, he had a boss like Lin Yi. Why would he need Sun Jingyi? Chun Tian felt relieved. He'd gotten stronger, so why would he be afraid of not finding a wife? With that thought, Chun Tian worked even harder. Golden class. Chun Tian didn't think that he'd broken through just like that. How long had it been? Just like that? He'd been training his physical style since he was young, and he'd only broken through to golden class, but this spiritual style broke through in just a few hours. Wasn't this a little too fast? Chun Tian couldn't believe it. Was he the fastest golden class master in history? But just when he was thinking about how he'd broken through so quickly, he realized that he was about to break through to Golden Class Early Phase Peak. Golden Class Early Phase Peak. Chun Tian broke through again. He was a little prepared this time, but he was still shocked. No way. He'd surpassed his original physical strength in the blink of an eye. Was this real? I'm not dreaming, right? Golden Class Mid-Phase. Chun Tian finally confirmed that he wasn't dreaming, but he'd broken through to Golden Class Mid-Phase. Golden Class Mid-Phase Peak. Chun Tian was a little numb. This was too fast, and he couldn't accept it. He hadn't even experienced the joy of breaking through to Golden Class Mid-Phase, and now he was Golden Class Mid-Phase Peak. Golden Class Late Phase. Chun Tian felt like his heart was going to explode. He'd never heard of a way to break through like this. Golden Class Late Phase Peak. Chun Tian felt like he was sitting in a helicopter, but he didn't think about whether it was real or not. He wouldn't dream like this. Every time he broke through the bottleneck, the pressure was real. It was painful, but as Chun Tian said, it was nothing compared to the hard work he'd put in. It could be seen that Chun Tian was a little arrogant, but he was someone who could take hardships. His strength was also obtained through hard work. Next, I'm going to turn you into Mystic Class Early Phase. You might suffer a lot, but just bear with it. Lin Yi suddenly said to Chun Tian. Chapter 1439. But now was a time of need, and Lin Yi needed Chun Tian to protect Meng Yao, Yu Shu, and Tang Yun. Only by doing his best could he ensure their safety. Mystic? Chun Tian was shocked beyond words. He was a Golden Class Late Phase Peak now, and he was already very surprised and satisfied. Was there anyone who could go from a person who didn't know martial arts to a Golden Class Late Phase Peak in one day? Chun Tian didn't think so. At least he hadn't seen it before. But now, it hadn't even been a day. In just one night, he became a Golden Class Late Phase Peak, and this wasn't enough. He wanted to become a Mystic Class? Chun Tian felt his body shaking with excitement. When he recognized Gooden as his boss, he wanted to take a gamble. He wanted to see Gooden's physical skills, and he wanted to learn from him to increase his own strength. But he didn't expect that his strength increased, but it was the spiritual strength, not the physical strength. But before Chun Tian could get excited, he felt a strong surge of qi entering his body, and it exploded, becoming even stronger. In an instant, his body swelled up like an inflated balloon. Chun Tian moaned in pain, but he clenched his teeth. He said before that he could endure it, so in order to not let Lin Yi look down on him, he gritted his teeth and endured the pain, not letting himself make a sound. Chun Tian's strength was beyond Lin Yi's expectations. On the other side, Lin Yi had completed his own steps, and the rest was up to Chun Tian. Lin Yi couldn't help much, and success or failure depended on Chun Tian's talent and luck. With Chen Yuqian, Ling Shan, and General Wei Wu as examples, Lin Yi wasn't worried about Chun Tian's safety. This method of condensing energy to increase strength seemed to work, at least for Golden Class late phase, peak to Mystic. Lin Yi, on the other hand, wasn't idling. After helping Qintian increase his strength, it was already the morning of the second day. Lin Yi heard voices outside the door. It should be Faubert and Pengzhan. They must have heard the news of Lin Yi's return from Immerse, so they came early in the morning. Lin Yi pushed the door open and saw Pengzhan and Faubert sitting on the sofa in the living room. Meng Yao and Yushu were already dressed, evidently ready to go to school. "Uncle Chu, Faubert, you're here." Lin Yi nodded to them. "Uncle Fu and I came to see you after hearing that you've returned safely," Pengzhan said. "But I heard from Yao Yao that you're leaving soon." "Yes, Uncle Chu. I'm going to look for the fire spirit's fruit to cure Xiao Xiao's disease. I'm afraid I'll have to leave soon." "Then how long will you be gone this time?" "College entrance exams are around the corner. You'll probably miss it, right?" Pengzhan asked. "Ugh. Uncle Chu, you're saying that I should stay with Yao Yao and Yushu after they go to college?" Lin Yi paused. Meng Yao and Yushu would definitely go to another city if they went to college. There was no way they would stay in Songshan. After all, there was only one medical university in Songshan, and the two clearly didn't want to study medicine. "Yeah, it's rare that Yao Yao likes you so much. You know how she is. She doesn't accept strangers easily. So I'm thinking that you should go to the same university as her and continue to be her bodyguard," Pengzhan said. The miss blushed after hearing Pengzhan's words. She wanted to argue, but she didn't want to. She felt conflicted before. Meng Yao had thought about what would happen to Lin Yi after she and Shu went to college. From her point of view, it didn't matter if she was willing or not. Their fate would end there. Lin Yi was clearly not a simple bodyguard, and Meng Yao understood that hiring him as a bodyguard was a waste of his talent. So, she couldn't just shamelessly ask him to protect her for the rest of his life. Could she? All good things must come to an end. Lin Yi had already resigned, and he was only staying here as a friend. He didn't have the obligation to protect her anymore, and they didn't have a relationship of employer and subordinate. From Meng Yao's point of view, she wouldn't be able to tie Lin Yi to her anymore after she and Shu went to university and lived there. Naturally, she wouldn't be able to tie Lin Yi down anymore. That wasn't realistic either. Lin Yi had his own life, and he had his girlfriend. Would Tang Yin bring her and Shu along when she went on a date? What would that become? Would it really be like what Shu said, that everyone would marry Lin Yi? Although Meng Yao wasn't really against it, she felt that it wasn't the case. Besides, she clearly didn't like Lin Yi that much. She was just used to having him by her side. Shu was the one who liked Lin Yi. Great, great. Yushu clapped her hands after hearing Pengzhan's words, forgetting what Lin Yi wanted to say. That isn't too good. I don't think I can make it for the college entrance exams. Lin Yi sighed. Besides, Yao Yao and Shu won't be in this city when they go to college, right? That's not a problem. Yao Yao and Shu are participating in the college entrance exams to prove their strength. I have a way to do it even if you don't need to. It's just that it's not a good name to be a self-funded student. Pengzhan said, "If you're worried, let Tang Yin go to the same college as them." Pengzhan seemed to have seen through Lin Yi's thoughts. "Shield bro, you're going back on your words." "Are you going back on your words?" Yushu didn't give Lin Yi time to think and questioned him directly. "Oh," Lin Yi paused. "Why would I go back on my words? You promised me before that the one who changes will be General Weiwu." Chen Yu said. Yushu's words reminded Lin Yi of the time when he'd lost all his strength and was about to resign. "Then it's a deal. If you recover to a higher level than before, you'll have to stay in the villa forever with me and Yao Yao sis. It's a deal. I want a pinky swear." "Ah, okay. Pinky swear for 100 years and you can't change. The one who changes will be General Weiwu." Chapter 1440. Lin Yi was just brushing Yushu off. He didn't think that he'd recover his strength and break through all of a sudden, but this sentence became a promise to Lin Yi. Lin Yi wasn't someone who made promises easily. especially to friends. Once he made a promise, he had to keep it. Yeah, I said it already. I'm Prophet Shu. Yushu nodded. Then you can't go back on your words. But last time, we agreed to stay in the villa, right? You guys are going away to college, so naturally you won't be staying in the villa anymore, Linny said. A villa. Yushu thought about it, and an idea came to her. We can buy a villa in another city, right, Uncle Chu? Pengzhan was the rich one here. So naturally, Yushu looked at him. Pengzhan was willing for Lin Yi to stay as well. So he nodded. Of course, that's not a problem. That's what I was planning to do anyway. Otherwise, Faubert and I wouldn't have a place to stay if we want to visit you guys, right? You guys can stay in the school during the week, and you can go back to the villa during the weekends. Yeah, Shield bro, look, he said a villa, but he didn't say where it was, so it's fine as long as it's a villa. Right, Yao Yao, sis? Yushu held Ming Yao's hand and asked, how would I know what your deal was with him? Ming Yao acted like she didn't mind, but on the inside, she was happy. This Shu sure had foresight, getting it right every time. All right, since it's a deal, then we'll have to do it. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Uncle Chu, I'll leave the school to you then. What's there to beg about? You take care of Yao Yao and Shu. I'm the one troubling you. Pengzhan smiled. Right. When are you planning to leave? Do you need to prepare anything? I don't need to prepare anything. I'll see about it for the next few days. I'll leave after dealing with things at home. Lin Yi smiled. The fire spirit's fruit doesn't have legs, so it won't be able to run away. I'll have to settle things at home first, and I'll let Wu Qintian take over temporarily to protect Yao Yao and Shu. That's fine, but Wu Qintian's strength. Pengzhan and Faubert had heard about Qintian's situation, and they accepted him after seeing how dedicated he was. But they were still worried about Qintian's strength. Strength isn't a problem. I've forcefully raised his spiritual strength to mystic early phase. He's a dual practitioner now, not much weaker than me. It's more than enough to protect Yao Yao and Shu. Lin Yi said. Pengzhan had heard from Faubert that Lin Yi could forcefully raise someone's strength, so he wasn't surprised. But the fact that he could raise Qintian to mystic early phase shocked Faubert. You can raise someone's strength to mystic now? While Li Fu's desire to reach a higher level in his youth had faded a lot with the passing of time, he was still able to increase his strength a little bit more, and it would be a great boost to his ability to protect Pengzhan and Meng Yao. Yes, this is a method I came up with when I was exploring the tomb, and I've tested it on Lingshan and Yuqian. It's proven to be effective, so if you're free later, Faubert, come back to the villa, and I'll help you raise your strength. Lin Yi saw through Faubert's thoughts and said, All right, I'll come back after sending Miss Chu and the others off. Faubert really couldn't wait to raise his strength. After all, this was an irresistible temptation for practitioners. After checking on Lin Yi and confirming Lin Yi's schedule, Pengzhan left the villa with Meng Yao and Yushu, leaving Faubert to send them to work and school. Lin Yi, on the other hand, stayed in the villa, waiting for Qintian to break through. Although he didn't need Lin Yi's protection, Lin Yi was afraid that someone would barge in and hurt him. Qintian wouldn't be able to fight back at this point. Lin Yi waited for everyone to leave before returning to his room, only to see Qintian holding his lower body pitifully, looking for clothes. He looked a little awkward when he saw Lin. Linny, boss, I accidentally blew my clothes up when I broke through. That's normal. It's the same for others. Lin, he wasn't surprised. Just find some clothes and put them on. We're both men. What's there to be afraid of? It's not that. It's just that it's a little small. Qintian was a little embarrassed and let go. I'm afraid that you'll laugh at me, Lin, boss. When you get a girlfriend, I'll make it bigger for you. Hurry up and put your clothes on. Lin, he was speechless. Wah, it can get bigger? Thank you so much, Linny boss. Qintian was so happy that he started dancing, even happier than when he broke through. You want to look for clothes to wear. What do you feel now? Linny asked. I feel great right now. I didn't think that I'd become a mystic early phase, and I'm a dual practitioner. I feel like I can fight my grandpa now. Qintian said, beating up Uncle Zhu is child's play. And we'll talk about Uncle Zhu in 2 days. Let's wait for you to stabilize your strength. You're actually still a golden class early phase physical practitioner, and your spiritual practitioner's arts only exist to support physical practitioners. It doesn't have any offensive skills, so you should focus on leveling up your physical skills as well. Lin Yi knew Qintian's situation like the back of his hand and directly pointed out his weakness. Qintian was also a mystic early phase, but he was different from Lingshan and Yuqian. Lingshan and Yuqian were both spiritual practitioners, so after leveling up, they had corresponding strength. Faubert was different as well. Faubert may have been a physical practitioner, but that was later on. Faubert's first practice was still a high-grade spiritual practitioner's arts, so after leveling up, Faubert was basically an external supporting internal practitioner, unlike Qintian, who was an internal supporting external practitioner. When it came to both internal and external practitioners, one was the main and the other was the support. It was very rare for both to be a high-grade practitioner. Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't continue to practice physical practitioners because he hadn't found a suitable external practitioner's arts, so he focused on spiritual practitioners. Chapter 1441. Lenny nodded. Then I won't disturb you. Go to the guest room and train yourself. Come see me when you've reached mystic early phase. Okay. Qintian gritted his teeth. He thought that it was a bit hard, but Lin was able to turn him from a normal golden class physical practitioner into a mystic early phase spiritual practitioner. Wasn't it hard? It looked easy, but it was hard to tell how much effort Lin had put in. Qintian felt that leveling up a person's strength wasn't something that easy. Lin didn't say it out loud, but he knew that he must have put in a lot of effort. Qintian was grateful to Lin Yi, and at the same time, he swore to himself that he would train hard and not waste Lin Yi's efforts. Go. Lin nodded. Qintian was looking good right now. He was full of energy, and Lin was quite satisfied. At the same time Qintian was training hard, a black SUV stopped in front of the floating cloud bar, and the first to step out was Zhao Qibing. Yes, you saw it right. He walked out. He didn't need a wheelchair anymore. He could walk. Zhao Qibing got out and stood at the side of the car, waiting respectfully until Elderby got out as well. He stood up straight again. Master, I've realized that it's really good to walk on my own, without a wheelchair restraining me. It's so comfortable. I didn't expect you to be so strong in martial arts. And your medical skills are even better. Qibing's leg, naturally, was healed by Elderby. He was an Earth-class late-phase peak, but he was also a master of medicine himself. All these years, he'd been acting as old Zhao's personal doctor, but House Zhao had other personal doctors, like Yao Wang. So other than old Zhao, Elderby wouldn't treat anyone else. Now that Qibing was his disciple, naturally, Elderby would treat him. Haha, don't worry. I will teach you this medical skill in the future. Elderby knew that Qibing was flattering him, but he didn't mind at all. That was just how Elderby was. If he liked you, he'd like you no matter what you did. If he didn't like you, he'd find fault with whatever you did. Thank you, Master. I'll work hard, Qibing quickly said. This time, Zhao Qibing came back to deliver the medicine to Uncle Zhu. In fact, his main purpose was to show his identity, Elderby's disciple. This meant that he was the future head of House Zhao. Qibing was using this method to make Sihua, Uncle Zhu, and, through Uncle Zhu, tell Elder Zhu that Qibing was going to make it big in the future. He wanted them to follow him and not have any suspicions. Qibing was also paving the way for his future. After all, it was very important to have his men supporting him. These people might seem a little weak now, but they were the future elders and backbone of the house. With these people, he'd be able to get more men to follow him until the day he became the head of House Zhao. Of course, Qibing couldn't say that to Elderby. He told Elderby that he was worried about Uncle Zhu's injury and wanted to deliver the meridian opening pill to Uncle Zhu as soon as possible, but he was worried that something might happen to him on the way back. After all, the meridian opening pill was very important, so naturally, Elderby came back with Qibing. Elder Yu, on the other hand, didn't think that Qibing was using this opportunity to show off. Instead, he felt that Qibing was a loyal and righteous person. He felt that his eyes were right. This disciple of his was a man of great use. If he became the head of the house in the future, he'd protect the people of the house. Floating Cloud wasn't open yet. It had just opened in the morning, and the waiters were cleaning the place. When Cheebing walked in, the waiters recognized him, but they were all very surprised. The boss was usually in a wheelchair, so why was he walking today? But they didn't dare to ask. After all, the boss's leg was a taboo, and people weren't allowed to touch it. "Boss, you're back." The waiters all greeted Cheebing. Su Jianong, on the other hand, heard the commotion outside and rushed out with Sihua. There was no one in the bar during the day, so the commotion outside was very clear. Su Jianong and Sihua heard the waiters greeting their boss, so they walked out immediately. "Master Bing, you're back. Your leg." Sihua was a little surprised to see Cheebing. "Naturally, my master healed my leg." Cheebing smiled. "Sihua, this is my master. Elder Bai, come and greet him." "Yes." Sihua was shocked. He was Guang Yin's underling, and naturally, he had some understanding of the hidden House Zhao. He knew who Elder Bai was. He was the personal bodyguard of House Zhao's old man. He'd be a person on the same level as the Grand Elder in the future, and now that he'd taken Cheebing as his disciple, didn't that mean that Cheebing would become the young master of House Zhao? Sihua didn't dare imagine it. Sihua was still a little reluctant when he first started following Cheebing, thinking that he'd be able to get some results with Cheebing before asking Guang Yin to let him go back to House Zhao to take charge of other things. He thought that an illegitimate child wouldn't be able to do much, but now, Cheebing had risen to the top in one step. "Greetings, Elder Bai," Sihua said respectfully. At this time, Uncle Zhu and Yao Wang came out from the room as well. They heard the news of Elder Bai's arrival. They were all under Elder Bai's management in House Zhao, so how could they not come out to greet him? Especially Yao Wang. He knew Elder Bai's medical skills, and he knew that Elder Bai was the head doctor of the house. This made him even more respectful. "Greetings, Elder Bai," Uncle Zhu and Yao Wang said respectfully after coming out. "Little Zhu, the master you follow is really a kind-hearted, affectionate, and righteous person." Since Elder Bai had taken Cheebing in as a disciple, he had to start thinking for him. He said directly, "Do you know what Cheebing said when the head of the house asked him what reward he wanted? He did a great job for the house this time. And you know what he said?" Chapter 1442. At the same time, Uncle Zhu was happy for himself. Cheebing was strong, and his position as his follower naturally rose as well. The head of the house even promised Cheebing that he'd be the next heir, but Cheebing didn't budge at all. He only had one request, and that was to get you a meridian opening pill. Elder Bai said, "Lil Zhu, what do you think of this master?" Uncle Zhu didn't think that Cheebing would give up the position of heir just for one meridian opening pill. He was so moved that his eyes were brimming with tears as he kneeled on the ground. "Master Bing, what have I done for you to treat me like this? It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Giving up the position of heir for me is not a smart move at all. Please take back the chi gathering pill. I don't want it anymore." Uncle Zhu wasn't an idiot. He knew very well. If Cheebing really became the young head of the house, how could he not have a pill? When the time comes, he will definitely ask for another pill for me. Wouldn't that be the best of both worlds? "Uncle Zhu, don't say that. Grandpa's decision can't be changed." Cheebing jumped in fright and quickly scolded, "Take the meridian opening pill and train hard. That's the best way to repay me." "Ha, Lil Zhu, there's no need to be like that. This pill is already here. It's a gift from the head of the house. There's no reason to take it back." Elder Bai looked at Uncle Zhu's reaction and smiled. Plus, to become the future head of the house, you need to be a talented and virtuous young man. You don't just have to contribute to the Zhao family. Cheebing, on the other hand, is a loyal child, and that's why I took him in as my disciple. Uncle Zhu's heart skipped a beat as he understood Elder Bai's meaning. He blamed himself for being a busybody, but Elder Bai's meaning was clear. Even if Cheebing became the heir, it wouldn't be stable, and Cheebing's loyalty was what Elder Bai really valued. "Yes, Master Bing is very loyal to us. If that's the case, I'll work hard to become Master Bing's right-hand man as soon as possible. Uncle Zhu quickly cupped his fists and said. He finally understood Master Bing's plan. Master Bing seemed to be loyal and gave up the position of the young master for Uncle Zhu. But wasn't this also because of Master Bing's control over people's hearts? Master Bing had found a good entry point. Not only did he gain the favor of Elder Bai and the head of House Zhao, but he also got himself a Dan. It was the best of both worlds. Yao Wang, I heard that you also contributed to the discovery of the Qi gathering pill. After talking to Uncle Zhu, Elder Bai turned to Yao Wang. But when he saw the lightning rod on Yao Wang's body, he felt strange. What is that on you? Are you doing acupuncture on yourself? Yao Wang didn't dare lie in front of Elder Bai. He could only tell the truth. These needles, it's all because of that Lin Yi kid. Yao Wang's heart was filled with hatred at the mention of Lin Yi. He was a great doctor, and yet he was humiliated by Lin Yi like this, not daring to pull out all the needles on his body. How embarrassing. Lin Yi put these needles in your body? Why didn't you pull them out? Elder Bai paused. He thought that Yao Wang did it himself, practicing some high-level kung fu. He didn't know that it was Lin Yi who did it. Lin Yi sealed his pure energy on the tip of the needle and stabbed it into my body. I didn't dare pull it out because the moment I did, the pure energy would explode and damage my meridians. Yao Wang said, troubled. My abilities are limited, and I can't break it. I can only stay like this. And here I thought it was some other reason. Elder Bai humphed in disdain. It's just a small trick in front of me. I'll help you deal with it. You're Qi Bing's underling now, so you're technically mine. You need to take care of your image outside, or people will think I'm useless. Thank you, Elder Bai. Yao Wang was overjoyed. Elder Bai had agreed to help, so naturally, there wouldn't be a problem. Lin Yi's methods might be difficult for a mystic, but for Elder Bai, an Earth-class late-phase peak, it was no problem at all. It's nothing much, Elder Bai said faintly as he waved his hand at Yao Wang's body. The needles were easily pulled out, and Yao Wang wasn't hurt at all. All the pure qi had been dissolved by Elder Bai. Qi Bing, Sihua, Yao Wang, and Uncle Zhu were all amazed. Lin Yi's methods were nothing in Elder Bai's eyes. If Elder Bai were to deal with Lin Yi, wouldn't it be as easy as lifting a finger? But that was to be expected. Lin Yi was strong, but he was still a mystic. Even if Lin Yi could fight an Earth-class early phase, that was only limited to the early phase. Elder Bai, on the other hand, was an Earth-class late-phase peak, one step away from Sky-class. Someone like that, naturally, will be able to break through Lin Yi's methods easily. Plus, Lin Yi's methods weren't too masterful. He could only make those with lower training feel helpless. Those with higher training, like Elder Bai, could forcefully dissolve Lin Yi's qi. At that thought, Yao Wang thought of something. Elder Bai, that Lin Yi is a huge problem for us House Zhao. If you were to deal with Lin Yi, it'd be a piece of cake. Yao Wang, my father and grandpa will decide this. Don't say anything else. Qi Bing jumped and quickly stopped him. This was what he wanted to say as well, but if his father and grandpa didn't agree, then even if Elder Bai was a Shifu, he couldn't do it. It's fine, but I'm an Earth class, and the Earth class of a hidden house is restricted by the Council of the Noble Houses. They can't come to the common world and participate in the fights here. If I were to make a move, I'd be used against. Elder Bai said, if you want to deal with Lin Yi, you'd have to find a chance in the common world. As for me, I can't do it. I'm too big a target. Yao Wang nodded helplessly. He knew the rules of a hidden house, but he was from a hidden house as well. He thought that Elder Bai would be fine if he were to make a move. Yao Wang, don't worry. With a Shifu like Elder Bai here, what's there to be afraid of? Once I'm strong enough, I'll take revenge myself. Wouldn't that be better? Qi Bing, on the other hand, felt a sense of heroic. His position was different now, and so was his perspective. Chapter 1443. That's right. That's more like my disciple. It's never too late for a man to take his revenge. As long as House Zhao doesn't make a big deal out of you and register you with the Noble House Association, you won't even be considered a part of House Zhao on the surface. No one will be able to say anything wrong if you go after Lin Yi. Elderby nodded confidently. Don't worry, as my disciple, you'll have priority in using all of House Zhao's treasures. I'll make sure you level up quickly. Ah, thank you, Master. Qibing was shaking with excitement after hearing Elderby's words. Even his father Guanyin didn't get this kind of treatment. He was the head of the house, but there was a limit to how much he could spend every month. There was no other reason than that old Zhao and Elderby didn't think highly of Guanyin, thinking that he had no drive. It was fine to keep a business, but it was hard to start a business. House Zhao wouldn't fall in his hands, but there wouldn't be much development. So old Zhao didn't need to spend too much effort on him. Strength didn't matter, as long as he could manage House Zhao when he was in isolation. The other disciples were even less capable, so he could only choose Guanyin. But Qibing, on the other hand, was a disciple of Elderby, and he put a lot of effort into him. Even if he didn't have the talent for practicing, he'd still have plenty of herbs. Plus, Elderby had already checked Qibing's bone structure and felt that the kid's potential was decent. It was just that he hadn't started practicing since he was young. But that didn't matter. With the foundation pill, there was nothing to worry about. Okay, Qibing, do you have anything to say about the things here? You'll be coming back to House Zhao with me to practice. Leave the things here to Tsihua and Zhu. Elderby's goal was to bring the meridian opening pill to Uncle Zhu, and there was nothing else to do after that. Master, do you think it's a good idea for me to come back with you? After all, I'm still a bastard child. Qibing was worried about that, but he didn't want to leave the freedom he had in the common world. If he went back to House Zhao now, he wouldn't be too high profile, even with his identity as Elderby's disciple. He had to be careful, and he had to worry about Xiaojin's plans. He didn't want to go back before his position was stable. Unless he didn't have any plans, that was fine, and he could just be a peacemaker, but that wasn't what Qibing wanted. Oh, so you're saying? Elderby paused, then smiled. You're my disciple. Who dares say anything? Of course I know that, but… Master, I'm doing it. Zhao Qibing said earnestly. Master, think about it. I've appeared in House Zhao out of the blue. Others might not dare to say anything, but they can think about it. What if rumors start spreading like wildfire? I, Master. I, why dash you? You. I didn't think you'd think this far ahead. Elderby nodded with approval. You're talking about this. I didn't think your identity is a little sensitive right now, and you suddenly came to House Zhao without a reason. People would be suspicious. All right, when the head of the house is in isolation, you can stay in the floating cloud bar. I'll come here often to teach you. Is there a secret room here? Yes. Zhao Qibing was overjoyed. In fact, he wanted to return to House Zhao with a proper reason and not hide like a coward. But his reason now was just and honorable. All right, let's go to the secret room. I'll help you take the foundation establishment pill and restructure your bones. Elderby said. Master, please. Qibing said quickly. Lil Zhu, come with us. You take the meridian opening pill and stay with Qibing. I'll protect you. Elderby said. Thank you, Elderby. Uncle Zhu was overjoyed. With Elderby protecting him, he'd definitely succeed. Faubert and Tianlong arrived at the villa almost at the same time. Uncle Feng. Lin Yi stood up and greeted Tianlong. No need to be so polite. How is it? I rushed over as soon as I got the news of your return. Tianlong said urgently. Is there any news of the fire spirit's fruit? Yes, Lin Yi said with certainty. But it's only a general direction, no exact location. I'll go look for it myself after I'm done with my family matters. That's good. Tianlong heard Lin Yi's words and was overjoyed. There was only hope, but it was better than no hope at all. But Tianlong couldn't help but ask, that fruit, how many are there? There should be a lot on a tree, right? Lin Yi was guessing as well. Zhang Liju's notes didn't mention how many fruits there were on a tree, but he'd taken 2 of them, and judging from his tone, there should be more. At least as many as 2. Good. Does that mean that Susu can be saved? Tianlong's face was full of excitement. He didn't think that he'd be able to see Susu again. There should be hope for Ani Xiao, but the fruit needs to be stored in a special container. I can only bring one back. Lin Yi said. So, I'm going to bring Xiao Xiao with me. That way, I could bring one back for Ani Xiao. After hearing the first half of Lin Yi's words, Tianlong's heart was in his throat. He thought that Lin Yi wasn't going to save Xiao Susu. After all, he could only bring one back, and that meant that Xiao Xiao would have priority. If Lin Yi went again, he wouldn't know when. But Lin Yi said he would bring Xiao Xiao with him, and bring one back for Xiao Susu. This made Tianlong very touched. Thank you, Lin Yi. Thank you so much. Tianlong patted Lin Yi's shoulder. It's our family's honor to know you. Huh, Xiao Xiao is my girlfriend, so we're family. There's no need to be so clear. Lin Yi smiled. But Uncle Feng, what you need to do is prepare a special off-road vehicle for me. It can fit Xiao Xiao's ice coffin and maintain its temperature. Chapter 1444. All right, Lin nodded. That was one important thing he had to do. After Tianlong left, Lin Yi brought Faubert to level up. Originally, Lin Yi wanted to level up Tianlong as well, but after some thought, he decided against it. After all, Tianlong's strength could be leveled up after he came back. Leveling up now wouldn't be of much use to him. Tianlong had the identity of the Secret Investigation Bureau, so he didn't need to be too strong. Faubert and Lin Yi were old partners, and they had experience breaking through before. This time, it was a walk in the park, but Faubert didn't expect it to be this painful. But after hearing Lin Yi say that Shantian gritted his teeth and didn't even make sound, Faubert gritted his teeth and persevered. Raising Faubert's strength was only from Golden Class late phase, peak, to Mystic Class early phase, so the time spent was much faster than raising Qintian's strength. Lin Yi completed the task quickly, and the rest was up to Faubert. In the afternoon, Faubert changed his clothes and walked out of the bedroom. Obviously, his clothes were destroyed, but at this moment, Faubert was refreshed, and his body was filled with an indescribable energy. It felt like he was in high spirits. Mystic Class. I didn't think that I would be able to stand at Mystic Class again. The first thing Faubert said when he saw Lin Yi was this. Back then, my sect was destroyed, and my wife and daughter were nowhere to be found. I lived on just so that I could take revenge one day. But, as time passed, the thought of revenge faded. Only today did I reignite this thought. You won't blame me, right? After all, Faubert told Lin that he had let go of his hatred and would take care of House Chu wholeheartedly. That was why Lin Yi was helping him. Lin Yi helped him because he wanted him to protect House Chu, not to take revenge. Only with hatred can there be motivation. Lin Yi smiled. Your hatred is the same as the destruction of your family. If you really let it go, I won't say anything, but I will look down on you. I believe that one day, you will take revenge with your own hands. Thank you, Yi. Faubert was touched. He didn't think that Lin Yi would support him. You're welcome. But let me make a joke. Faubert, before you have absolute strength, you should stay in House Chu and protect Yao Yao and Shu. Unless you surpass me one day, I will let you take revenge. Lin Yi said this not because he looked down on Faubert, but because he wanted him to find a suitable position. Faubert suddenly became Mystic early phase, and it was inevitable that he would feel a sense of self-confidence. This wasn't a good mentality. Even Wu Chentian wanted to take revenge on Uncle Zhu, not to mention Faubert. So Lin, he had to pour cold water on him. He had to let him know that he wasn't the strongest. If he couldn't even beat Lin Yi, how could he take revenge? Yeah, I understand. Faubert nodded solemnly. Thank you for the reminder. My mentality was indeed a bit off today. Faubert, naturally, knew why Lin Yi would say something like this. It was encouragement before, and now it was a warning. Faubert was very grateful. All right, now that Faubert and Qintian are here to protect Yao Yao and Shu, I can leave without worry. Lin, he had done what he needed to do. The only thing he was worried about was Ziyu. Thinking of Ziyu, Lin, he couldn't help but think of Xiao Xiao. Last time he went to see Ziyu, Lin, he brought Xiao Xiao with him. But this time he was alone. He said that he was going to test Ziyu's homework in a week, but because of Xiao Xiao, it was delayed. This was Armadillo's little sister. Before Linny left, he had to go see her. At least, he had to make sure that she was better. If not, he'd transfer her to Songshan's first junior high and have Zhou Ruoming look after her for him. Delinquent girls had to be watched by gangsters. This time, Linny drove to Fushan Middle School. Looking at the empty seat, Lin sighed. Every time he drove this rover out, Lin couldn't help but think of the days he spent with Xiao Xiao. From hate at first to love later. It wasn't something that was engraved in his heart, but Lin still remembered it. That love was short, but it was intense. It was a love of life and death. The car stopped at the entrance of Fushan High School. At the entrance of the school, there were a few young men with colorful hair. They were obviously the type of gangsters. I say, "Hey bro, where did this pretty boy come from? Is he coming to our school to get some girls? Should we spend some money?" One of the gangsters couldn't help but drool as he looked at Lin Yi's rover. These people were used to robbing and blackmailing people, and now that there was a fat sheep on their doorstep, they were naturally envious. "Spend your ass." Haega kicked the hooligan in the face and knocked out a few of his front teeth. He couldn't speak with his mouth full of air. Then he quickly ran to the school gate and opened the 2 iron gates. He shouted, "Guru Lin, you're here. Please come in." Hey Bro knew that it wasn't easy for him to get his position as the boss of Fushan Middle School. He got it by picking up scraps and scraps. So he became more careful and vigilant, afraid that Zhou Ruoguang would take him down if he didn't do a good job. And so, Hey Bro had memorized Lin Yi's face the first day he took up the position, putting him on the list of people he absolutely couldn't mess with. How could he not be careful when even Zhou Ruoguang was afraid of him? And so, Hey Bro recognized Lin Yi right away. "You're that little Hey guy, right?" Lin Yi said, recognizing Hey Bro. "It's me, Hayashi Lin. You still remember me?" Hey Bro's face lit up with joy when he heard Lin Yi's words. "Hayashi Lin, you're here to see Miss Ziyu, right? Don't worry. After you left, I followed your instructions and made sure Miss Ziyu goes to class every day. I've also arranged for the best students in the school to study with her." "You've done well." Lin Yi nodded, feeling that this Hey Bro was quite understanding. But this guy was also quite amazing, being able to arrange for the students with the best grades to be together. "It's what I should do." Hey Bro smiled. Chapter 1445. Chapter 1443. Ziyu's changes soon. Lin Yi found Ziyu's class. They should be having English class right now. Lin Yi stood at the window and looked in, satisfied. At least, this class was like a real class. It wasn't as chaotic as the last time he came, no different from the market. It seemed that Hey Bro didn't lie to him. These were all students with good grades and loved to learn. The next moment, Lin Yi started looking for Ziyu. Soon, Lin Yi found her in the crowd. Ziyu was wearing the school uniform, sitting with Chun Shi. Her hairstyle was the same as the one Lin Yi did for her last time. It wasn't weird anymore, and she didn't have any makeup on her face. But Ziyu kept frowning, evidently not understanding what the teacher was saying. Looking at her, Lin Yi found it a bit funny. It seemed that it was really hard on Ziyu. She hadn't studied much before, and her foundation was definitely bad. Cramming at the last minute wouldn't do her any good. But Lin Yi was just letting her experience the atmosphere, not expecting her to do well in one day. Even if she couldn't get into high school, Lin Yi could let her go to Songshan's first school. He didn't even need to show his face. The Miss or Faubert would be able to handle it. Lin Yi didn't go in and disturb her, standing at the door, waiting for the class to end. Not long after, the bell for the end of the class rang. The teacher on the podium also put away the lesson plan, announced the end of the class, and left the classroom. The students in the classroom rarely left the classroom. Some even went to the toilet. The students in this class were all students who loved to study. The high school entrance exam was coming soon, so these people naturally wouldn't waste time. It wasn't easy for the atmosphere in this class to be good, so everyone wanted to study even harder. Speaking of which, they had to thank Ziyu. If it weren't for her, they wouldn't be able to gather together. It was kind of like studying with the princess, except that her grades were really bad. After class, Ziyu didn't leave the classroom. She took out a workbook and asked Chun Shi seriously, and Chun Shi explained to her seriously as well. This scene made Lin Yi look at Ziyu in a new light. Lin Yi thought that she was just putting on an act to pass the time. He didn't expect her to really want to study. Lin Yi walked into the classroom and stopped beside Ziyu. Lil, hey, can you stop being so annoying? Coming to see me every day, and I already said I've started studying. You sure are a good dog, and Zhou Ruoguang's a wimp too. Why are you guys so obedient? Ziyu didn't raise her head, but she mumbled unhappily. Lin Yi smiled. Lil Hei's really doing his job. Ziyu paused. It wasn't Lil Hei. It was Lin Yi. Lin Yi bro, you're here. Chun Shi heard Lin Yi's voice and raised her head to look at Lin Yi, surprised and happy. You're teaching Ziyu questions? Lin Yi looked at the workbook in Ziyu's hands. It was a first-year workbook. It seemed like she started studying in first year. First-year questions? I've never studied before. Ziyu blushed, a little embarrassed. She was a third-year student, after all, and it was embarrassing to be looking at first-year workbooks. You're not bad. I see some changes. Weak basics can be slowly improved. Lin Yi nodded, satisfied. It's just that my basics are too weak, and it's not long before the high school exams. I'm afraid I'll just waste my effort then. Ziyu pouted, a little discouraged. Her change was forced by this tyrant, Lin Yi, but after studying with Chun Shi for a couple of days, she wasn't that resistant anymore. After all, learning knowledge was better than being a gangster. Ziyu wasn't stupid. She was just a little rebellious during puberty. Plus, the school environment was like this before, so she didn't have the heart to study. But now that she had the conditions, under Lin Yi's pressure, she slowly fell in love with studying. You just need to work hard. You don't have to worry about other things, but if you don't work hard and just want to sit back and enjoy the fruits of others' labor, then don't blame me for being rude. Lin, he said seriously, I'll arrange for you and Chun Shi to study in Songshan's first school, but only this once. If you don't get the scholarship after you go, then you'll get beaten up. Ziyu was speechless. She breathed a sigh of relief when she heard what Lin Yi said. It seemed like she didn't need to study hard to get into a high school, but wasn't the condition a little too harsh? Get a scholarship? Get beaten up if you don't get the scholarship? What kind of logic was that? Even the parents of other students wouldn't ask for this, right? Ziyu didn't know what the criteria were, but she knew that only the top few students in a school would be able to get a scholarship. Ziyu felt that it would be very difficult, but thinking about Lin Yi's style, Ziyu felt her but go numb. This guy might really beat her up. Chun Shi, on the other hand, was very happy. She didn't think that she'd be able to get into Songshan's first school as well. This was her dream school. She had some confidence, but she was worried that she wouldn't perform well. But with Lin Yi's promise, there wouldn't be a problem. Did you hear that? Lin Yi asked again, seeing that Ziyu didn't say anything. I heard it. I heard it. I heard it. Ziyu said angrily. You're such a bad person. Why will my brother let you manage me? You're not gentle at all. What's with all the bullshit? Is your butt itching? Lin Yi glared at her. Before your brother comes back, I'm the one watching over you. But hearing Ziyu mention armadillo, Lin Yi felt a little suffocated. There was still no news of him, and he didn't know if he was still in this world. If he told Ziyu about this, how much of a blow would she take? All right, I'll try my best, Ziyu said, unwillingly under Lin Yi's pressure. And I'll be going out for a while, half a year at most, a month at shortest. But I'll arrange things for you, Lin Yi said. Chapter 1446. You go compete? I guess so. Lin Yi didn't explain things that clearly. Remember, don't try anything funny. I'll have people keep an eye on you. Got it, Ziyu said helplessly. Lenny nodded, relieved. Chen-Shi, I'll leave Ziyu's studies to you then. I'll be going first. Okay, don't worry. Bye, Lenny big bro. Chen-Shi waved at Lin Yi, her face a little red from the excitement. Bye. Ziyu wasn't as happy as Chen-Shi. Lin Yi wasn't angry, however. He smiled and quickly left the classroom. Class was about to start, and Lin Yi couldn't stay here any longer. After Lin Yi left, Ziyu stood up and looked outside. After making sure Lin Yi was gone, she smiled and winked at Chen-Shi. Tell me, do you like that Lin Yi guy? Wah. Chen-Shi jumped, her eyes wide. What? What did you say? I say, do you like that tyrant Lin Yi? Ziyu had been in society for years and naturally matured a little. She'd seen things between men and women before, but she'd never tried it herself. She knew quite a bit, though, and started guessing when she saw Chen-Shi blushing. I don't like him. Chen-Shi didn't really mean what she said. Did she like him? Didn't like him? What did she mean by like? What did she mean by not liking him? Chen-Shi didn't think about those kinds of relationships. She just thought that Lin Yi was a nice guy. Not only did he help her mother, but he also helped her a lot. In her heart, she started to worship Lin Yi. She had a good impression of Lin Yi, but she'd never thought about liking him. Look at you, you're blushing and stuttering, and you're calling Lin Yi big bro so intimately. Ziyu giggled. Chen-Shi was flustered and didn't know how to explain. She started to speak incoherently. He's older than us. I didn't expect it. Xiao-Shi, you've actually fallen in love? Do you need Sis Ziyu to give you some advice? Although I'm not as good as you in learning, I have experience in this area. Ziyu finally found something she was better at than Chen-Shi. She patted her chest happily. Huh, Ziyu sis, you've been in love before? Chen-Shi paused. I've never eaten pork before, but I've seen a pig run before. Ziyu stuttered. I've seen more than you. Oh, but Lin Yi big bro has a girlfriend already, right? And she's really pretty too. Chen-Shi didn't know what to say, but she didn't know if she liked Lin Yi or not. She just went along with Ziyu's words. It's fine if you have a girlfriend. You can go fight for her. Ziyu was a little pissed off at the thought of that girl beside Lin Yi. She was the one who told Lin Yi to spank her last time, and she'd remember that. Wasn't that girl a little too mean? Why didn't she tell Lin Yi to spank her? No, I can't fight with Xiao sis. She's really nice to me. She shook her head. How could I do something like that? Nice? That Xiao girl's so mean. She wants that tyrant Lin Yi to spank me. Ziyu said. Don't worry, with my support, I'll make sure you catch up to your Lin Yi big bro. What am I saying? Chen-Shi finally snapped out of her stupor and blushed at what she said. Ziyu sis, I was just talking nonsense. I didn't mean it like that. Don't misunderstand. You accidentally said the truth. Understand. Ziyu said, time for class. I'm going to class. Chen-Shi blushed and ignored Ziyu. After Lin Yi left Fushan High, he told Faubert about Ziyu and Chen-Shi. Faubert, naturally, agreed without hesitation. This was nothing to him, and Lin Yi was also a shareholder of Pengzhan Industries. Lin Yi breathed a sigh of relief as he thought that the matters before he left were more or less settled. In fact, Lin Yi was most worried about the Miss, Shu, and Tang Yun's safety. He even thought of forcefully raising their strength to mystic class, but he didn't have a suitable practitioner's arts for them to practice. The art of dragon mastery wasn't suitable for girls, and Lin Yi didn't have any other practitioner's arts. The difference between humans and spirit beasts was that spirit beasts could increase their strength without a practitioner's arts, but humans couldn't. So, Lin Yi decided to slowly search for something suitable for the Miss and the others. This way, he wouldn't have to worry too much. On the way back to the villa, Lin Yi thought about Lingshan and Yuqian. He wondered how they were, if the tomb robbery was over yet. Lin Yi thought about it and decided to give Lingshan a call before he left. After all, the two were good friends now, and he didn't know how long it would be before he came back. He wouldn't be able to help her solve the case. With that thought, Lin Yi dialed Lingshan's number. Lingshan had been hesitating whether she should call Lin Yi or not. She knew that Lin Yi was a doctor, and although Yu Tian was receiving the best treatment in the hospital, Lingshan felt that Lin Yi should be better, Plus, in the tomb, Elder Yu said that General Weiwu, who was with Lin Yi, was a healer spirit beast. Lingshan didn't know if Elder Yu was bullshitting or not, because she knew where that dog came from. It was just a normal dog that Lin Yi had forcefully increased its strength. It wasn't much different from her and Yuqian. How was this a spirit beast? As a result, she didn't really believe that the spirit beast could heal wounds. But whether she believed it or not, Lingshan felt that she should tell Lin Yi. In her heart, Lin Yi was almost omnipotent. As long as she had something, she could find Lin Yi, and no matter how difficult it was, Lin Yi could solve it easily. But Yuqian didn't let her tell Lin Yi, and this put her in a difficult spot. On one hand, she didn't want to go back on her promise, but on the other hand, she felt that only Lin Yi could solve this problem. Just when Lingshan was hesitating, her phone rang. Lingshan thought it was a co-worker, so she picked up the phone. Hello? Chapter 1447. Chapter 1445. Lin Yi's rage. Lin Yi? Lingshan stood up abruptly, pleasantly surprised. She wanted to call Lin Yi, but she couldn't make up her mind. But Lin Yi was the one who called her, so she made up her mind. Lin Yi was the one who called her, so it wasn't her fault. It's me. Did you hear what I told you? Lin Yi frowned. Was there something wrong with this song, girl? It wasn't the first time he called her, so why was she acting like this? Oh, I heard. What did you say? Lingshan jumped in fright as she stuttered. Lin Yi was speechless. What's going on in that head of yours? I said I was planning on going on a long trip these couple of days to find a fire spirit's fruit for Xiao Xiao. So I called you. If there's a case in the future, don't come looking for me. I'm nowhere to be found. You're leaving already. Lingshan wasn't expecting Lin Yi to leave so soon. What about Yuqian? At that thought, she didn't care anymore. Lin Yi, something happened to Yuqian. Yuqian? Something happened? What happened? Lin Yi paused, confused. Yuqian was heavily injured by House Yu's Yufeng, and his meridians are all severed. He's in Songshan's first hospital right now. Lingshan smiled bitterly. What? Why didn't you say so earlier? Lin Yi stopped the car on the side of the road in shock. What's going on exactly? Why did Yufeng hit him? Speaking of which, it's all because of me, Lingshan said, feeling a little guilty and blaming herself. Because of you? What does it have to do with you? Lin Yi didn't understand how Lingshan got into trouble with Yufeng. House Yu and House Song wanted to unite by marriage, but Grandpa didn't ask for my permission before he married me to Yufeng. Lingshan didn't think much of it before, thinking that Yufeng would back off. After all, it was Lingshan who didn't agree, and Yufeng would give up after a while. Who would have thought that Yuqian would step in at this moment? Yuqian was doing this out of goodwill, and Lingshan really didn't know what to do. Yufeng, that kid's character is too bad, and I'm about to destroy his family. Don't marry him if you don't want to be a widow. Speaking of House Yu, Lin Yi thought of Ziyu and Armadillo. Huaijuan had already said that behind the international drug gang, there was a shadow of House Yu. Naturally, Lin Yi wouldn't let them go. Plus, the hatred was already set, and Lin Yi wasn't afraid of House Yu at all. If they didn't like him, then they could send people to deal with him. At first, Lin Yi was worried about House Yu's Earth-class boss Yu, but now it seemed that the old man was a complete coward. Of course, I don't want to marry him. I told him a couple of times, but he wouldn't listen, always bothering me. Lingshan calmed down after hearing Lin Yi's words. Since Lin Yi had plans to cause trouble for House Yu, then Yuqian was just an excuse to make Lin Yi even angrier. It wouldn't bring any trouble to Lin Yi. And then Yuqian saw it and got jealous. So he fought with Yufeng? Lin Yi guessed. How am I jealous? Isn't it because of you? Lingshan quickly defended Yuqian after hearing Lin Yi's words. Because of me? Lin Yi didn't understand. Why did it have to do with him again? Because I like you. Lingshan felt a little embarrassed after saying that, but she was a straightforward person, so she didn't feel too awkward. Yuqian knew that I like you, so he didn't want Yufeng to waste time, but Yufeng didn't listen. Lingshan told Lin Yi what happened, and Lin Yi didn't know what to say. This was a misunderstanding. No wonder Yufeng hit him so hard. But then again, what Yu Qian did wasn't wrong, and Yufeng was just too cruel. If Ling Shan really had some sort of relationship with him, then it would be reasonable for him to hit her. But now, Ling Shan didn't like him at all, and he hit Yu Qian. This was beyond what Lin Yi could tolerate. Lin Yi was a very protective person, especially when Yu Tian's business involved himself. Lin Yi couldn't just sit by and watch. I'll go to the hospital now. Wait for me there. With that, Lin Yi drove towards the hospital. Lin Yi was planning to go search for the fruit in 2 days, but with Yu Tian's business, Lin Yi couldn't just leave now. He had to deal with Yu Tian first before leaving. He could take revenge later, but Yu Tian's injuries had to be healed. Lin Yi quickly drove to the hospital, waiting for Ling Shan in the parking lot. Not long after, Ling Shan's cheetah drove over. Lin Yi waved at her, and she stopped beside him. "You're here." Ling Shan quickly got out after parking the car and smiled at Lin Yi. She looked a little haggard, much thinner than when she was in the tomb, surprising Lin Yi. "I just arrived. I don't know where Yu Tian's room is." "Bring me there," Lin Yi said. "It's in front of us." Ling Shan nodded, not saying much as she walked with Lin Yi. "Why didn't you call me earlier?" Lin Yi wondered if Ling Shan wouldn't have contacted him if he didn't call her. "I wanted to, but Yu Qian didn't let me tell you. 1. He was afraid that you'd do something irrational and go to House Yu for revenge. And 2. He was afraid that Yu Shu would be worried." Ling Shan explained, "I hesitated a few times, but I couldn't make up my mind. If you didn't call me today, I probably wouldn't have told you. Don't you always look for me when something happens? What's wrong with you this time?" Lin Yi frowned. "Next time something like this happens, tell me immediately." "Oh, I'm sorry." Ling Shan felt wronged. "How would I know that you're so capable? Going to House Yu. We've been enemies for a long time. It's not like you don't know that." Lin Yi said, "All right, let's not talk about that. Did House Yu do anything?" "House Yu took advantage of me and complained to my grandpa and Grandpa Chun, saying that I broke the engagement and that Yu Qian said that he and I—" Ling Shan stopped there, believing that Lin Yi would understand. Chapter 1448. Lin Yi nodded and asked, "When is the meeting of the noble houses?" Lin Yi had heard both Fatty Lai and Xu Min talk about it before, saying that House Kong wanted to compete for the chance to become a noble house. But Lin Yi wanted to go to the noble house meeting and cause trouble for House Yu. They've sent out the invitations already, and they're making preparations now. It should be this month or next month, no later than 2 months. Ling Shan said, "Every noble house meeting takes less than 2 months from the time of preparation to the time of the event. Fortunately, I should be able to make it in time. I'll go look for the fire spirit's fruit and find an opportunity to break through." Lin Yi sighed. "Once I break through to Earth class, I can turn you and Yu Qianbro into Earth class. At that time, I'll turn the noble house meeting into a memorial for House Yu." Lin Yi was only mystic mid-phase peak, and while it was more than enough to deal with Yufeng, he didn't have full confidence against Shueixing. After all, Shueixing was a mystic late-phase peak, and he heard that Shueixing's brother was an Earth-class early phase. He had entered the hidden House Yu to train, but when House Yu was in danger, he couldn't just stand by and do nothing. So if Lin Yi wanted to win, he had to increase his strength. He didn't know what position that Elder Yu he met in the tomb had in the hidden House Yu, and did he know Shueixing's brother? But that didn't matter. Even if that Elder Yu helped, Lin Yi wasn't afraid of him. He could scare him away when he was still mystic, and if he was an Earth class, then Elder Yu would probably run away. Ling Shan couldn't help but widen her mouth in shock after hearing the words. From Lin Yi's words, Lin Yi was preparing to cause a scene in the noble house meeting, but this news wasn't as shocking as the previous one. Lin Yi was going to turn her and Yu Qian into Earth class? Ling Shan felt like she was daydreaming, wasn't she? In the blink of an eye, Earth class wasn't a dream anymore. It's so close now. Once upon a time, Ling Shan had dreamt of becoming a golden class late phase peak. That was something that she couldn't even dream of, but now, All of this was because of Lin Yi. If he didn't know Lin Yi, wouldn't he still be an early phase golden class master? Ling Shan couldn't help but blush as she thought back to the first time she met Lin Yi, and how people misunderstood her as helping Lin Yi. But if she could go back in time, Ling Shan thought that she'd admit to it right there and then. What do you think? Ling Shan felt that if Lin Yi had brought it up, she might have actually agreed. Ling Shan's eyes flashed with a strange, alluring light as she bit her lips and looked at Lin Yi lovingly, her face abnormally red. Lin Yi, you're so good to me. Are you horny? Lin Yi jumped. He didn't know what was going on with Ling Shan, but why did she look like she was horny? They were talking about serious business. Why did this happen all of a sudden? Ling Shan was a little annoyed, blaming Lin Yi for not understanding the situation. This guy seemed to be infatuated sometimes, but he was also an idiot at other times. For Xiao Xiao, he'd go to a dangerous place like the ancient tomb, and he'd go even further to search for the fire spirit's fruit. He didn't even look at her. Nope. How am I supposed to horny if you don't get naked? Ling Shan said to Lin Yi, let's go see Yutian bro first. Lin Yi didn't continue on the topic. Towards Ling Shan, Lin Yi didn't know what he felt. If he said he liked her, it was naturally a little. He wasn't a plant or a tree. He couldn't be emotionless. He'd been with Ling Shan a lot of things, and their relationship had gone from being enemies at the start to being weird and subtle. What made Lin Yi feel helpless was that Ling Shan seemed to have set her sights on him, just because he'd seen her naked once, as if he was the only one she could marry. Ling Shan didn't seem like a conservative person, but that was exactly what she was. But it was impossible for Lin Yi to fall in love with her. Because of his lust for beauties, Lin Yi only had a good impression of her, but it'd be troublesome once it turned into action. But it seemed like there was a lot of trouble right now. Ling Shan gritted her teeth at Lin Yi's avoidance of the topic, but there was nothing she could do. This was the first time she'd fallen for a man. As she got to know him, she became more and more infatuated with him. This man had too many secrets, and he was abnormally strong. He was just right for her. Lin Yi wasn't just a little stronger than her. He was way, way stronger. Although Lin Yi was only mystic mid-phase peak right now, Ling Shan believed that Lin Yi would achieve even greater things in the future. If Lin Yi didn't have the confidence, he wouldn't have said something like turning the noble house meeting in a house used death anniversary. Out of all the noble houses in the common world, who would dare to say that they wanted to destroy House U? Even the hidden houses wouldn't dare say something like that, let alone normal houses. Everyone knew that House U had the support of the hidden House U, and the hidden House U was one of the strongest of the hidden houses. Who would dare go against them? But Lin Yi just had to do it, and he did it. And he was still living so carefreely after doing it. Ling Shan couldn't help but sigh. It was really frustrating to compare oneself to another. Judging from Lin Yi's tone, Xie Yufeng had suffered a lot from Lin Yi in school, but he was still so arrogant in front of Yutian. If she'd known this would happen, she would have asked Lin to chase Yufeng away first, and this wouldn't have happened. The two walked side by side to the hospital, and they saw a familiar face. Guan Exan. Lin Yi saw Guan Exan first and greeted her with a smile. She was a shy girl he'd met when he first came to Songshan, and Lin Yi had a good impression of her. After that, because of Xiumin, Lin Yi and Guan Exan got closer. Chapter 1449. Guan Exan knew Ling Shan as well, but she didn't have a good impression of the girl. She thought that there was something wrong with the girl's style, helping Lin Yi in the hospital in broad daylight. Guan Exan didn't believe that Lin Yi was that kind of person, but the rumors in the hospital were spreading like wildfire, as if it were true. She'd met Ling Shan when she was kidnapped by the assassin who wanted to kill Lu Buojia, but she'd made a report in a hurry. They didn't have much of a relationship, but she knew that Ling Shan was from Hao Song and that she was close to Huaijun Bro. She seemed to be his junior. Hello, Officer Song. Guan Exan didn't like her, but she was a careful girl. Since Ling Shan was with Lin Yi, Guan Exan couldn't just ignore Ling Shan. It had embarrassed Lin Yi, and so she greeted Ling Shan. Guan Xian, is it? I remember you. Ling Shan nodded with a smile. Ling Shan was no longer in a mood to be jealous of Lin Yi's beautiful girls. She couldn't be jealous anymore. There were too many of them. She just hoped that Lin Yi would pay more attention to her. Being from a big house, Ling Shan didn't care too much about stuff like that. This was one of the reasons why she was able to accept it. Lin Yi, why are you here? Are you sick, or are you here to visit a friend? Guan Xian asked. I'm here to visit a friend. Lin Yi said. How have you been? I haven't been to your house in a while. Is Grandpa Guan doing well? Grandpa is doing well. Guan Xian felt a little sad at the mention of her grandpa. Her grandpa could tell that Lin Yi wasn't going to be his disciple, nor was he going to be House Guan's grandson-in-law. However, Guan Shuamin didn't want to leave without a successor, and so he wanted to send Guan Xian to an old friend's place to learn about Eastern medicine. That way, House Guan would have a successor. But Guan Xian didn't want to leave. She didn't feel like a doctor. She felt that being a nurse was better than being a doctor. At home, she helped Shuamin get medicine and brew it. She was familiar with it, but she didn't have the confidence to save lives. Secondly, she'd have to leave Songsan. Even though Lin Yi had clearly rejected the idea of becoming House Guan's grandson-in-law, Guan Xian only wanted to quietly protect her own happiness. She wanted to be able to silently pay attention and miss Lin Yi. Even if they didn't see each other often, they were still in the same city, so there were still chances to see each other occasionally. Just like now, the two of them were meeting each other. Guan Xian didn't want to leave, but she didn't want to disappoint her grandpa either. She knew that her grandpa had spent his entire life studying medicine, and he wanted his descendants to have achievements in this field as well. Guan Xian, however, was only a normal nurse, and that was disappointing. Xu Amin didn't say much about it, because he loved Guan Xian, but after meeting Lin Yi and talking to him, he felt that it was time for his granddaughter to learn something. Otherwise, the gap between Lin Yi and Guan Xian would only grow bigger and bigger, and the distance between them would only grow bigger and bigger. Xu Amin knew what Guan Xian was thinking, and he wanted to make Guan Xian and Lin Yi together. That was why he made this decision and told Guan Xian about it. But Guan Xian felt that no matter what she did, Lin Yi wouldn't choose her. Lin Yi already had his lover, and she'd met her before. She was a beautiful and youthful girl, so why would she want to ruin their relationship? As for studying, Guan Xian really didn't think that she was cut out for it, so she was conflicted. Now that she saw Lin Yi, she suddenly had the urge to talk to him. All right then, I'll go see my friend first, and I'll visit Grandpa Guan in the next 2 days. Lin Yi was about to leave, so he naturally had to pay Xiumin a visit. He'd also tell Fatty Lai about the medicine company. Lin Yi, are you free later? Guan Xian bit her lips and finally opened her mouth to ask. She wasn't someone who liked to take the initiative, but this was an important matter, so she wanted to discuss it with Lin Yi and see what Lin Yi thought. No matter what Lin Yi said, she would listen to Lin Yi. Almost why? Is there something you need? Lin Yi asked. I have something I need your help with. Guan Xian said carefully. Sure, I'll call you when I'm done here. In Lin Yi's impression, Guan Xian usually didn't look for him on her own. Now that she was looking for him, it must be something important. Naturally, Lin Yi wouldn't reject her. Guan Xian nodded happily when she saw that Lin Yi agreed, her face a little red from excitement. Then I'll wait for your call. All right. Lin Yi smiled. Ling Shan, on the other hand, was a little unhappy as they walked through the door. Why was Guan Xian blushing? Lin Yi didn't say that she was in heat, but why did she have to be in heat when it came to her? Ling Shan wasn't happy at all. Why was her treatment so different from others? Yu Qian's room was the innermost room on the 3rd floor. Yu Qian purposely chose this position to not attract attention. He purposely hid the news of his injury, and only his grandpa and some noble houses knew about it. His other friends didn't know about it. Usually, no one came to visit Yu Qian except for Ling Shan. So when Ling Shan pushed the door open, Chun Yu Qian naturally thought that it was Ling Shan who came to visit him because the nurse and doctor had just left. Ling Shan, you're here again? Didn't I say that you're busy with your case? You don't need to come visit me. I'm an adult. I can take care of myself. It's fine, Yu Qian said directly. Yu Qian bro, why did you hide it from me? If I didn't come to the hospital to visit a friend and met Ling Shan, I wouldn't know about it. Lin Yi cleverly avoided Ling Shan's responsibility, saying that it was a coincidence that he came here and that Ling Shan wasn't the one who snitched on him. Ling Shan looked at Lin Yi gratefully. She didn't think that he'd be so nice to her. Lin Yi, you're here. Yu Qin paused and felt a little embarrassed. I'm sorry to disappoint you. You spent so much effort to help me get stronger, but now I'm a cripple. You wasted your effort. Chapter 1450. Lin Yi, I knew you would say that. Yu Qian couldn't help but smile bitterly. I didn't want Ling Shan to tell you because I didn't want you to act rashly and take revenge for me. You have to know that House Yu doesn't only have Yu Feng. There's also the head of House Yu, Shueixing, who's a mystic late phase peak. There's also a big brother who entered the hidden noble house, and he's an earth class early phase. If you go, I'm afraid. Besides, the noble houses have their own rules. The noble house meeting is about to begin, and the conflicts between the noble houses must be resolved during the meeting. The conflict between House Chun and House Yu must be resolved through House Chen's people. If you go, Lin Yi, you won't have a legitimate reason to do so, and it'll make House Chen's position even more awkward. Lin Yi froze. He didn't know that there was such a rule in the noble house meeting. Although Lin Yi had a certain understanding of the noble house meeting, he only heard it from Fatty Lai, Guan Shuamin, and the others. However, these people were just outsiders, and they didn't have the qualifications to participate in the noble house meeting, so their knowledge was limited. However, Lin Yi didn't even think about taking revenge for Yu Qian personally. He wanted Yu Qian to do it himself. Who said I'm going to do it for you? Lin Yi smiled and asked back. Yu Qian froze. He didn't expect Lin Yi to say this. Didn't you say that? I can't let this go. It's true that I can't let this go. But I'm not the one doing it. You're the one doing it. Lin Yi said, don't tell me that you, as a man, don't want to avenge yourself with your own hands. Yes. Yu Qian didn't hide it. He gritted his teeth and said this word. But then he smiled bitterly. Lin Yi, you don't know my current situation, do you? Many of my meridians are broken. Even if I recover, I'll only be paralyzed if you raise my strength to mystic early phase. I won't be able to use half of my strength. Huh? Lin Yi smiled. You, why are you so lacking in confidence? You're not as optimistic as your sister. What do you mean? Yu Qian froze. General Wei Wu was beaten by Yu Kuan to the point that he was on his last breath. Not to mention his meridians, even his internal organs were displaced. Didn't he become a golden class? Oh, a mystic class dog? Lin Yi said, back then, your sister told Yao Yao that I could definitely cure General Wei Wu. What was the result? Yu Qian wasn't stupid. Naturally, he knew that Lin Yi knew medicine. He had heard from his sister and Ling Shan that Lin Yi's medical skills were superb, but he didn't expect Lin Yi to be able to repair meridians. After all, repairing meridians was House Sun's specialty. Even the hidden houses couldn't do it. They had to rely on meridian opening pills to repair damaged meridians. How could he expect Lin Yi to be able to repair meridians? So, from Yu Qian's point of view, Lin Yi was only skilled in medicine and could raise a person's strength. As for repairing meridians, it was impossible. He thought that even if he found Lin Yi, it would only be faster than a hospital. But now, Lin Yi's words were clear. He should be able to repair meridians. You mean you can repair the damaged meridians in my body? Yu Qian widened his eyes in disbelief as he looked at Lin Yi. Really? You're not joking? One couldn't blame Qin Yutian for being agitated. He had been living in low spirits for the past few days. Although it had been some time, and he had thought through a lot of things, no matter who it was, they wouldn't be able to accept it, but there was nothing they could do. But now, Lin Yi told him that he could repair meridians. Yutian's dead heart was burning up again. Yes, I specialize in repairing damaged meridians. Lin Yi nodded and joked. Why don't you say that you can repair spaceships? Yu Qian was amused by Lin Yi's words. It was the first joke he made in a while. That, I think I can. Lin Yi thought that since his energy was omnipotent, could he repair spaceships too? But it was just a thought. Huh? Yu Qian laughed. Lin Yi, why do I feel like you're omnipotent? I finally know why Lingshan likes you. If I were a woman, I'd marry you too. You're a treasure bowl. Huh? Lin Yi didn't continue the topic. I'll heal your meridians and restore your strength. But as for revenge, we'll talk about it when I come back. I'm not in a hurry. Yu Qian wasn't a reckless man. How could he go to Yufeng for revenge? Otherwise, he wouldn't have kept it a secret from Lin Yi. He was afraid that Lin Yi would act on impulse. As for this injury, it wasn't because Yu Qian was impulsive. It was because he didn't expect Yufeng to act so impulsively. There's still some time before the meeting of the noble houses. I can wait. If it doesn't work this time, I'll wait for the next time. It's never too late for revenge. It's good that you think like that. Lin Yi nodded. At the end of the day, it's because we're not strong enough. If I were Earth class now, why would I be afraid of House Yu? But now I'm afraid. Just like you said, House Yu has a mystic late phase peak master and a hidden Earth class early phase master. These two are our enemies. If you want to kill Yufeng, it's impossible that they won't stop you. What I need to do is to clear the obstacles for you. You mean, you want to destroy House Yu? Yu Qian was stunned after hearing Lin Yi's words. Yu Qian thought that after Lin Yi helped him increase his strength, he would challenge Yufeng at the meeting of the noble houses and defeat him fair and square. He didn't expect that Lin Yi would want to destroy their entire family. Yeah, since we're going to do it, we shouldn't leave any loose ends. Lin Yi said. So this time, searching for the fire spirit's fruit might be an opportunity for me to break through. When I come back and break through to Earth class, you'll all be Earth class masters. With you guys by my side, what's House Yu? Yeah, Yu Qian was infected by Lin Yi's heroism. With 3 Earth class masters, even House Yu's boss wouldn't be able to do anything. Thinking about the limelight at the meeting of the noble houses, Yu Qian felt his blood pumping. It sounded like a fairy tale, but Lin Yi had been through a lot of fairy tales before, wasn't it? Being able to increase one's strength and repair one's meridians. Which of these were not fantasies before he had seen them? Lingshan felt dizzy as well. She felt that she liked Lin Yi more and more. Chapter 1451. I'm healed. My strength recovered too. Chun Yuqian couldn't even dream that he would go from a bedridden cripple to a normal person who could walk around as he pleased in such a short amount of time. Yeah, what else do you want? Lin Yi nodded and said matter-of-factly. Yuqian's injury looked heavy, but it wasn't as heavy as General Wei Wu's. At most, it was similar to Qin Tian's, so Lin Yi healed him quickly. Yu Tian's meridians were healed, so naturally his strength returned. Yu Qian didn't lose much of his strength this time. He didn't even fight Yufeng, so he didn't lose any of his strength. It was just that his meridians were injured, so his strength was suppressed. This was different from the time when Lin Yi broke all his meridians. Lin Yi compressed all the qi in his body and sent it out, but Yu Qian didn't. So this treatment was very short. It only lasted for a few hours, and Chen Yuqian was back to normal. Lingshan was already used to Lin Yi's miraculousness. She wasn't shocked anymore, so she said, I think you've recovered too. See, I told Lin Yi earlier, he's omnipotent. I didn't want to cause trouble for Lin Yi. I didn't expect my strength to recover so easily. Yu Qian smiled bitterly as he touched his broken legs. Chen Yuqian smiled bitterly as he touched his broken legs. He didn't feel any discomfort at all. The other noble houses all know about your injury, right? Lin Yi asked. Yeah, basically. With House Yu's publicity, I became a laughing stock. Yu Qian said embarrassedly, but Lin Yi, I really don't have that kind of feelings for Lingshan anymore. Don't misunderstand. I know. That girl's a bit of an idiot. It's normal for you to lose interest in her. Lin Yi joked with a smile. Lingshan wanted to kill Lin Yi. Who was the idiot? Just look at me like a fool, okay? Huh? Yuqian couldn't help but laugh, but shut his mouth when he saw Ling Shan's dark face. Since that's the case, there's no hurry to spread the news of your recovery. When the time comes, we'll launch a counterattack at the aristocratic family's meeting to achieve a shocking effect. Lin said, otherwise it won't be good for them to be on guard. But in this case, I'll have to trouble your old man and let it be sad for a while. I know what's important. Don't worry. Just wait until the moment I appear in the aristocratic family assembly. Grandpa will be happy. Chen Yuqian knew the importance of the matter and wasn't in a rush to tell his grandpa. Otherwise, if his grandpa's expression changed and House Yu found out, the plan would be disrupted. I'll go first. Guan Xin has something to talk to me about. Lin went to find Guan Xin after dealing with Chun Yutian's matter. Then I'll keep pretending to be sick in a room? Yuqian asked. I'll tell Guan Xion's grandpa about this. You can stay here until I come back. It won't affect your training, Lin said. Right. Speaking of training, I have something I want to ask you. Ling Shan didn't want to dwell on Guan Xion's problem. She took the initiative to ignore Guan Xion. What is it? Lin, he was about to leave the room when he heard Ling Shan's words. He stopped in his tracks. It's about the progress of my training. After I reached Mystic early phase, I've been busy with cases, but I didn't give up on training even when I was resting. I used every minute and second to train, but it seems like there's no progress at all. Ling Shan asked curiously. I wasn't Mystic before, and I didn't know about these things. So I wanted to ask, is it really that hard to train after Mystic? After Mystic, it's very hard to increase your strength by even a little bit. That's true, and the chi here is very thin. It's normal for you to make little progress, Lin said. But why do I feel like there's no effect at all? When I was golden class, I would feel a little effect every time I trained, Ling Shan said, confused. No effect at all? Lin paused. Maybe it's too slow, and you can't feel it? After all, the difference between Mystic and Golden Class is very big. Lin didn't train in the Jade Space at the very beginning, and the rest of his time was spent in the Jade Space. He wasn't sure if Mystic Class could be trained in this kind of environment. After all, the chi here was too thin, and it was normal for training to be slow. Maybe so. Ling Shan nodded helplessly. Lin didn't think much of what Ling Shan said, and called Guan Xin as soon as he left the room. Lin Guan Xin was overjoyed when she received Lin Yi's call. You're done with work? Yeah, where are you? Still in the hospital? Lin looked at the time. It was already 7 at night, and Guan Xin should have gotten off work by now. Yeah, I'm at the hospital, working overtime. You're at the hospital too? Guan Xin had an appointment with Lin Yi, so naturally, she didn't leave the hospital. I'm here too, where are you? I'll go look for you. Lin Yi asked. It's okay, I'll pack my stuff. Let's meet at the hospital entrance? Guan Xin asked. Sure, let's meet at the parking lot in front of the hospital. My car's parked there, Lin said. 10 minutes later, Lin saw Guan Xin running towards him from the parking lot. Guan Xin had already changed out of her nurse uniform and was wearing a very quiet shirt. Her hair was tied up casually behind her head, and she looked like a student who was doing her internship at the hospital. You look very young, don't you? Lin smiled. I'm not that old to begin with. Guan Xin knew Lin Yi's age, and that she was a bit older than Lin Yi. So when she dressed up, she didn't know that Lin Yi was older than Guan Xin. Huh, you haven't eaten yet, right? Let me treat you to dinner. Lin Yi looked at Guan Xion's abdomen and guessed that she hadn't eaten. Lin Yi was a doctor, and his observation skills were sharper. Guan Xin might have eaten, but not very much. Chapter 1452. Since Lin Yi didn't know about it, Guan Xin decided to keep it as her little secret. What do you want to eat? I don't even dare to pick a random restaurant in front of chef like you. It'll be hard on you if the food doesn't taste good. Lin Yi asked with a smile after he invited Guan Xin into the car. Whatever. I'm not that picky. The food in the hospital's cafeteria isn't that good, but you still have to eat? Guan Xian smiled. Just pick a random restaurant? It was Lin Yi's first time inviting Guan Xian to a meal, and it wasn't appropriate to go to a bad place. He thought about it and decided to go to Pengzhan Business Hotel. It was more secluded, and it was considered his family's turf. It wasn't convenient. There's no need for such a good place, right? Guan Xian saw that Lin Yi had parked the car in the hotel's parking lot, and she felt that it was too luxurious. She was born in a wealthy family, but she didn't have the habit of luxury. She was better than Miss in this aspect. Miss wasn't as delicate as those other girls, but she didn't have much of a concept when it came to spending money. It's Yao's hotel. I have a VIP card here, so it's not too expensive, Lin Yi explained. Oh, Guan Xian knew who Meng Yao was. She knew that she was the girl Lin Yi was protecting in the bank. To be honest, Guan Xian was a little envious of her. Even if she wasn't Lin Yi's girlfriend, she could at least spend time with Lin Yi. The two asked for a small room, and after ordering a few dishes, Lin Yi asked, Xian, is there something important that you want to talk to me about? Yeah, there's something. I can't make up my mind, so I'd like you to give me some advice. Guan Xian blushed, embarrassed. It won't cause you any trouble, will it? It's nothing. It's normal for friends to discuss things. What's the matter? Just say it. I'll see if I can give you some advice. Lin Yi agreed readily. It's like this. Grandpa wants me to learn medicine from his friend, but it's not something I like. I don't think I'm cut out to be a doctor. I've always wanted to be a nurse since I was young, and whenever Grandpa treats people, I'd help him get the medicine and boil it. My control of the heat and the weight was always perfect, and Grandpa even said that I was born to be a doctor, but it's been so many years I've grown up, and I think I still like to get the medicine and boil it, and I still like being a nurse. Guan Xian started talking about her own life. I don't want to disappoint Grandpa, but I'm not cut out for it. It's about that. To be honest, Lin Yi didn't really want to get involved in what Guan Xian was talking about. After all, it was related to Xu Eming's wishes, and Lin Yi didn't want Guan Xian to go against him. Yeah, I'm in a bit of a pickle. What do you think I should do, Lin Yi? Guan Xian looked at Lin Yi with a headache. You like to get the medicine and boil it. What if you just want to study the properties of Chinese medicine? Would you like that? Lin Yi was also having a headache, but he came up with a compromise after thinking about it. Of course I'd like that. Guan Xian nodded. I've always liked to help Grandpa make medicine since I was young. I don't know why, but every time I do it, I feel a sense of familiarity. Maybe it's because I was born in a house that smelled like Chinese medicine. Then, I suggest you tell Grandpa Guan that you're only studying the properties of Chinese medicine and not a doctor. That way, you'll only need to prescribe the right medicine for certain illnesses, and you won't need to go see a doctor yourself. Lin Yi said, would this suggestion be of any help to you? Guan Xian's eyes lit up at Lin Yi's words. Lin Yi's suggestion was indeed a good idea. If she followed Lin Yi's suggestion, it would be her interest, and in the future. Most importantly, she might even be able to help Lin Yi's company. Didn't Lin Yi's company research medicine? Guan Xian was excited at the thought. But if she left, she wouldn't be able to see Lin Yi for a while, and that made her a little disappointed. They'll tell Grandpa this when I get back? Guan Xian had already accepted Lin Yi's suggestion, and it was up to her grandpa to agree. Haha, I think it's possible. Lin Yi smiled. If I have time, you can learn from me, but I don't have the time to teach you systematically. Guan Xian's heart was pounding when she heard the first half of Lin Yi's sentence, but she was disappointed when she heard the second half. Yeah, where would Lin Yi find the time to teach her? Then can I call you if there's something I don't know? But Lin Yi's words ignited a glimmer of hope in Guan Xian's heart. Although she couldn't see Lin Yi often, if she could call Lin Yi once in a while, it would make her feel at ease. Of course, no need to be so polite with me. Lin Yi smiled. It's not like you won't come back when you're studying. I'll test you myself when we meet and see how you're doing. Okay, don't worry, I'll work hard. Guan Xian's burden was resolved, and it was like a huge rock had been lifted off her shoulders. She felt a lot more relaxed. After dinner, Lin Yi drove Guan Xian back to Guan Xueming's place. It was already late, and Lin Yi planned to visit another day. But Guan Xian mentioned that Lin Yi drove her back, so Guan Shuamin insisted on Lin Yi's visit. Since he couldn't refuse, Lin Yi could only follow Guan Xian into the house. It's been a while. Guan Shuamin was very happy to see Lin Yi. Every time he had a medical discussion with Lin Yi, Guan Shuamin would benefit a lot from it. He'd long since treated Lin Yi as a good teacher and a good friend. Yeah, Grandpa Guan, I've been a bit busy lately, so I haven't been able to visit. Sorry about that, Lin Yi said apologetically. When he first came to Songshan, Guan Shuamin had helped him a lot, and Lin Yi had always remembered that. Without Guan Shuamin, Lin Yi's company wouldn't have been established so quickly. It's nothing. You have a lot of things to do, and I know that. Guan Shuamin nodded. How's Xiao Xiao's situation? Shuamin had seen Xiao Xiao's sickness. There was nothing he could do about it, and Shuamin knew that Lin Yi had been busy with Xiao Xiao's situation. Chapter 1453. Guan Xian didn't think that Lin Yi would be leaving as well. That meant that she wouldn't be able to say goodbye to Lin Yi when she left. Her initial excitement turned into disappointment. What's wrong, Xian? Are you sad that Lil Yi is leaving? Guan Shuamin joked. I. Guan Xian blushed, embarrassed. I'm not. I'm just a little surprised. Haha, I'm just joking. What do you think, Xian? Have you thought about what I told you? You're probably going to discuss it with Lily today, right? Guan Shuamin waved his hand. He knew that his granddaughter was shy. What's the decision? Grandpa, I discussed it with Lin Yi, and this is what we've decided. Guan Xian told Guan Shuamin about Lin Yi's suggestion. With Guan Shuamin's intelligence, it was easy for him to understand his granddaughter's intentions. Studying medicine meant that she could go to Lin Yi's company to help Lin Yi. Guan Shuamin didn't know what to do with his granddaughter, but it was still better than being a nurse. All right, it's decided then, Guan Shuamin nodded. I'll talk to my old friend about this. He wants to take in a disciple to inherit his legacy before he enters that place. My old friend happens to specialize in medicine as well, so Xinxin's request is in line with his. Although Guan Shuamin's old friend was an expert in medicine, he was also skilled in other things like diagnosis and acupuncture. Guan Xian obviously wouldn't be able to learn that. Okay, thank you, Grandpa. Guan Xian was very happy to hear her grandpa agree. Lin Yi, on the other hand, asked curiously, that place? What kind of place is that? I'm not too sure about the specifics. This old friend of mine is a hermit among the common people. I heard that a sect that specializes in alchemy has taken a fancy to him and wants to recruit him. As for the specifics, it's a secret, so I didn't ask for details, Guan Shuamin said. Is that so? Since it was a secret, Lin Yi didn't plan to ask further. After all, Guan Shuamin didn't know. The two of them chatted about some medical matters before Lin Yi got up to leave. It was already very late, and Lin Yi couldn't stay there for too long. Missy had already sent him a few text messages asking when he would be back. While the aristocratic families were preparing for the aristocratic family meeting, all the hidden aristocratic families, sects, as long as they had the qualifications, would receive a blue letter with the symbol of an ice flower printed on it. For a time, all the hidden aristocratic families, sects, and gangs took action. In the hidden house, the head of the house, Yu Xiaochun, held the letter in his hands with a serious expression. He spoke to Yu Lu. I'm going to see father immediately. I'll let him decide on this. Yu Lu paused. The head of house, Yu, was always in isolation, and this was something everyone in the hidden house knew about. Even the head of the house, Yu Xiaochun, wouldn't disturb him on small matters, unless it was something big. But now it was clear that something big had happened. Yu Lu didn't know what the letter meant, but the content was definitely something big. What are you spacing out for? Get the car ready. Yu Xiaochun said. Yes. Yu Lu nodded and went to prepare the car. The place where the head of House U was in isolation was at the peak of a mountain outside of the U castle. The road to the peak was a mountain road that House U had built themselves. Even a practitioner like Yu Shaochen could go up without a car, but it wasn't as convenient as a car. Soon, Yu Lu prepared the car and drove Yu Shaochen up the mountain. "How's Yu Huashing? Anything?" Yu Shaochen asked. "No, Yu 7, 8, and I took turns to monitor him, but we didn't find anything out of the ordinary. We didn't find anything special in his room, either," Yu Lu said. Could it be that he really came back empty-handed? Yu Shaochen didn't trust Yu Huashing, but he trusted Yu Lu and the others. These were all loyal disciples of House Yu, and they'd grown up in House Yu since young. "That's hard to say. We'll monitor him for a few more days," Yu Lu said. With a car, they arrived at the top of the mountain very quickly. However, just as they reached the top of the mountain, they were stopped by a black-clothed man who suddenly appeared. This person casually tapped his finger and blocked the speeding jeep in front of him. It was as simple as pushing a toy car. "Senior brother Yu E, the head of the house, is here." Yu Lu quickly stopped the car and spoke to the person who stopped them. This person was Yu E, the strongest disciple of House Yu. He was the second Sky class after the head of House Yu. He was only Sky class early phase, but he was already at the top of the world. But even so, when he heard that it was Yu Shaochen in the car, his face turned serious, and he cupped his fist. "Ah, it's the head of the house. I apologize for the offense. Please forgive me, head of the house. It's nothing. You've protected father's safety, and I'm very happy for that." Shaochen got off the car and nodded to Yu E. From this, one could see that the hidden house Yu was completely different from the hidden house Xiao. Shaochen's position in the hidden house Yu had already reached a point where he had complete control over everything. The head of House Yu basically didn't care about the matters of the house anymore, and even a master like Yu, he had to treat him with respect. "It's my duty," Yui said quickly. "Is father in isolation? I have something important to see him about." Shaochen asked. "The head of the house just came out yesterday and hasn't started yet. Please, head of the house," Yu said with a welcoming gesture. "Head of the house, I'll wait here." Yu Lu knew the rules, other than the direct disciples of House Yu. Only Yu could get close to Elder Yu's mountain peak. Naturally, he wouldn't follow him. Shaochen nodded and followed Yu into a place that looked like a cave, but it was a stone door with a fingerprint lock. As the head of House Yu, Shaochen naturally knew the password. After entering it, he walked in with familiarity. The cave didn't look like much on the outside, but it was a whole new world inside. The construction inside was very meticulous, and it had a retro feel to it. They came to the innermost room, and this was where Shaochen's father, the head of House Yu, lived. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.